From the mile-high city of Denver, the Pirates feeling a mile high tonight. They'll take on the Rockies here from Coors Field. And the Pirates, why are they up? Well, they just swept the Milwaukee Brewers at their place and now finding themselves just 3 games back of first place Milwaukee here and back to the 500 mark for the first time since the first couple of weeks of the season. And weather-wise, maybe some inclement weather here in Denver. You never know at the foothills of the Rockies here, but we'll see how that goes here tonight. Welcome into the booth. Joe Block and John Wayner with you here this evening as the Pirates are feeling very good right now, and why not, as they have played themselves back into thinking that this may be something. And, you know, you think about what they have done in that last series against the Brewers. Really, a 4-game sweep of any team is good, let alone a first-place club.
You know, the Pirates had to come out of the break and win some big games against the Cardinals and the Brewers. You didn't expect to sweep. It just doesn't happen that often. You look, third team in MLB history to sweep a 4-game series, first divisional opponents, all comebacks. I mean, they pitched, they played, they pitched extremely well. They got clutch hitting. The bullpen was outstanding. You have to love the young guys with the big hits, the walk-off hits late in ball games. You were hoping to win 3 or 4. You weren't expecting 4, but boy, it was fun.
And you got to keep that going here tonight, and it's always a tough place to pitch in, and we'll see what Trevor Williams can do. He's been good at keeping the ball in the ballpark. The rookie will make his first start at Coors Field tonight. It's the Pirates and the Rockies here coming up in just a bit here on AT&T Sportsnet. Field and getting set for the first game of this 3-game weekend set. Pirates trying to keep their winning ways going. The Rockies have come in winners of 4 straight, and Trevor Williams gets the nod here tonight, and he has been very reliable. And look at our Barrel Automotive League leaders. He's been keeping the ball in the ballpark. The fewest home runs per 9 innings allowed in that span since after that first start that he had in Los Angeles.
You know, I think since he's been in rotation, he's been great. 11 of his 13 starts, he's allowed 3 earned runs or fewer, which is very good, obviously. Colorado here pitching is not an easy task, though. He'll get it for the first time, and he has to face a guy like Nolan Arenado, who went off the other day. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. This guy can hit for power. He can hit for average. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark from right field to left field. And he's not the only one in this Rockies lineup that can hit, but Arenado, an MVP-type season.
Yeah, you look at what the Rockies have been doing. This is the last 9 games. They're averaging almost 9 runs a game, a couple of home runs. This is a big offense. It has gotten even bigger here lately.
And in this ballpark, they hit almost 300, 299. It's 50 points higher than on the road. They know what they're doing. They got experience in this lineup. They have guys that can hit for average, hit for power, and they love hitting here, as does everybody.
Yeah, a good thing the Pirates get to hit here, too. We'll see the Pirates good pitching as of late, the Rockies good hitting as of late. What we'll give, we'll find out. Pirates will try to sock it to the Rocks. Coming up next, right here on AT&T Sportsnet. Sportsnet brought to you by IC Light. And we are with you from the Rockies here. Colorado Rockies playing host tonight, and Trevor Williams will get the nod here in the series opener. It's been a fun week. It's been really a fun couple of weeks. The Pirates are playing so well on the road last time around. Can they keep that going here to begin this road trip?
Well, you hope so. It's been a lot of fun. You don't get much more exciting than that homestand, especially the last 4. But even the Cardinals series, it was great to see the fans come out over the weekend with the Cardinals, and the crowds grew as that series went along against the Brewers. And the pitching was outstanding. The timely hitting was there. The defense, the walk-off win, which everybody loves, the come-from-behind win, all that. It was just a lot of fun.
So how do we keep it going? Let's take a look at our Rivers Casino tips to win for tonight. What do you got?
Well, in the winning streak, 4 runs or less. So it's been 3 or 4 runs winning ball games. I think they're going to have to get a little more offensive. I think the Pirates are going to have to score more runs than 4. In fact, here at Coors Field, only 7 games were won when a team with the winning team scoring 4 or less, and limit their opportunities. This Rockies lineup has power in it, but they hit with runners in scoring positions, so you want to limit the guys on base. I mean, pitched around a lot of traffic in that last homestand. You don't want to give too much traffic to these Rockies because they hit well over 300 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, the best of the major leagues in terms of batting average with that. And Jeff Hoffman, a couple of rookies going for both squadrons here tonight. And feeling good here. A nice night here in Denver to begin the series. And look at the RAV4 lineup for Clint Hurdle's Bucko. Starling Marte back atop the order. He's hitting .512 in his career here at Coors. And Harrison and McCutcheon to follow. Bell, Freese, and Polanco the middle third. Then Cervelli, Mercer, and Williams the bottom third of the order for the Pirates here tonight.
And a rookie, Jeff Hoffman, taking the hill. 6-1, a 4.33 ERA in 11 games, holding opponents to a 2.40 average. Just 24 years of age, a former first-round pick. A pretty good fastball, averages about 95 miles per hour. Good curve, mixes in occasional slider and a changeup.
And the defense behind Mr. Hoffman tonight, the 4-time Gold Glover Nolan Arenado. The Honda defense with Parra, former Gold Glover, Blackman, and Gonzalez. Story. LeMahieu also has won a Gold Glove. Ian Desmond, his 12th career start at first base. Tony Walters doing the catching. And he throws out nearly 40% of attempted base stealers. So the Rockies defensively have been a good team as well. We think of the offense. They pitched all right, which with a lot of young pitchers, that's a big reason why they are in wild card territory right now.
You always wonder how you're going to get pitching here. I mean, as a free agent, as a pitcher, do you want to come to Denver and pitch at the high altitude? And so they've developed. They've made some trades. Hoffman was a part of a trade coming from Toronto. They brought in a pitcher, a former pitcher, as a manager to try to figure things out. Still, the ERA is a run higher here at home than it is on the road. It's going to happen. The ball carries. Everybody knows it. It's an enormous outfield. A lot of room out there for balls to drop. It's just a great hitter's ballpark. But these young starters have done a great job.
Bud Black, a former manager of the Padres all those years, now here in Colorado. And Starling Marte set to work. Has enjoyed great success here and just getting going again. 4th game back after suspension. And adding that element of speed as well.
You know, I wonder, obviously it was a great ovation Marte got returning home, coming off the suspension. I wondered what it was going to be like on the road. I wanted to know how big of a name Starling Marte and the circumstances with Starling and how it would play out on the road. You didn't hear much.
Yeah, first road game for him. Yeah, that speed playing a factor here. LeMahieu's won a Gold Glove, but rushed into trying to make that play.
That's a hit. He's not going to throw Marte out there, I don't believe. I mean, even if he does everything perfectly, I think Marte beats it. This is one of those where Marte's out in front, so he's getting out of the box very quickly. That ball comes up a bit. LeMahieu doesn't have any time to sit back and get a better hop, so he has to just kind of do or die, get it on the run, throw it on the run. But Marte has got too much speed, I believe, to be thrown out there.
And so we'll see it on display. See if he'll take off. Josh Harrison. They talk about limiting the Rockies' traffic. See if the Pirates can create some of their own. This ballpark, the thing that I was talking with so many guys about today, pitchers, Rockies pitchers or Pirates pitchers, they didn't talk about the home runs of this ballpark. They talk about how big the gaps are, the biggest outfield. here at Coors Field. That is what they fear.
Quick infield. I mean, the ball will get through.
In the air. And out to Gonzalez.
And as you mentioned, and it's a one thing about this ballpark as well. You talked about Marte perhaps running. I don't want to make outs here on the bases. I want to make sure if I'm going to steal, I want to be pretty sure I'm going to be able to steal the base. I don't want to make outs here because it's so hitter friendly. You don't want to take away opportunities for your offense.
Andrew McCutchen will come up. I'm talking with him about it. Hitting here, he said, you don't come in here as a hitter and lick your chops per se, but you do have a good feeling about hitting here, and that, for instance, like you said, Marte might be able to score on a ball, hit in front of an outfielder to a gap.
Sure, yeah, no question about it. There's just too much room out there to navigate through. I mean, even the left center. If McCutchen were to hit one in the left center, and they get it before it goes to the wall, Marte's probably going to score.
And he's ahead in the count to start. Yeah, kind of different rules here.
Oh, yeah. And I think as a hitter, you don't want to go up there trying to hit a home run either. I mean, that can get you into trouble. Anytime a hitter goes up there trying to force the issue, the results usually aren't good.
And that's what McCutchen was saying too. As much as we talk about the young pitchers going tonight and how they can't get into their heads about pitching here, same thing with hitters, right? I mean, you think, all right, I'm going to crank one out of here. Well, no, just do your thing and the rest will take care of itself.
Keep the same approach. And I think, as a pitcher, if you're used to pitching up in the zone and you come to Colorado, you can't pitch up in the zone here. You got to throw the ball down. You got to sink the ball. Well, if you're not a sinker baller and you're taking away what has made you successful, I don't think that works.
Now, the only thing that, pitching wise that I gathered today was that, maybe some of the breaking stuff is not quite, it doesn't break quite as much. So you might want to adjust to that. Same thing as if you're shooting hoops out in the breeze, and okay, I got to move this a little bit this way, but it's relatively minor.
I mean,
is what they're saying.
They say, I mean, that's you've heard the breaking ball doesn't break as much. And how do you deal with that? I guess you can find out rather quickly by warming up or throwing a few pitches whether or not you're going to have the same break as you're accustomed to. And I guess if you don't have the same break or there's not the same sharpness to the breaking ball, and I think you have to be more aware and have more conviction on that breaking ball when you throw it to make sure you don't leave it up, that if you're going to miss, you're going to miss down.
Marte is running. And a wild throw allows him to steal his third base of the year.
Picked a good pitch to go on as well. A breaking ball. Down and away from Andrew McCutchen. Even though Hoffman with the slide step. Pretty good jump from Marte. I think even a perfect throw would have made it maybe a little close, but I thought Marte would have had it anyhow.
So 3 steals now, with 2 coming back in April. And anything that shoots through that fast infield, Marte is going to be in. Still 2-2 on number 22.
Oh, there was a curveball that was left up. Andrew McCutchen pulls the trigger just a little bit too soon, a little out in front. That's his main secondary pitch, Hoffman, the curveball. This year throwing it about 17.5% of the time.
That one just missing.
Or did it? WB Mason strike zone. Has it on the edge. And that would be another thing I think would be a little frustrating, is Alonso Marquez not giving Hoffman the call. The crew chief, Joe West, at third. Rackley at second. Fairchild at first.
And McCutchen will work a walk. So a couple of men aboard with one out. And great new promotion the Pirates are doing again this year, that for every run that the Pirates score in this series, of course, they pick Coors Field. What a great place for that. Fans receive $1 off tickets to the Pirates games from August 1st through the 8th in the baseline box, the outfield box, the corner box, and bleacher sections. And they'll be available for purchase 30 minutes after Sunday's game at pirates.com/howmanyruns, or beginning on Monday morning at the PNC Park ticket window. So every run they score here in this series, that knocks $1 off the price. So if you weren't already cheering for the Pirates to score a lot, another incentive for you. And that one sneaks through, and Marte's going to score. McCutchen moves to third. RBI single for Josh Bell, and there's one.
What a great place to have that promotion here at Coors Field. And we talked about the dimensions and the quick infield. I mean, pitchers can't get a break. I bet Hoffman thought this was a double play ball. The ball's down, it's a ground ball, and it just scoots by LeMahieu. LeMahieu didn't have the greatest jump on that. That ball was about by the pitcher's mound before he moved. But still, very quick infield, resulting in the Bucks' first run. And still in business as McCutchen hustles the third.
Yeah, just about every ball that gets through the infield, guys are going to go first to third.
You at least want to have that mentality. I think you should always have that mentality, going first to third on a base hit.
So that's already $1 off of the tickets for the next homestand. Remember, it's not just tonight, it's the whole series. So what if the Pirates hit like the Rockies have over the last few days?
That'd be great. I want to say one of the first times that they had that promotion, I think the Pirates scored more than the tickets cost.
Yeah, they were free that first time. This is trouble. And David Freese is going to have an infield hit. That's a couple infield hits in the inning, one sneaking through, and the Pirates have two.
Yeah, what a great start. Need to get offensive. Who cares how you score? It doesn't have to look pretty. It could be a ground ball that gets through.
They're waiting for their signal from David Freese.
It could be a swinging bunt. Hit it where they're not.
Yep. Arenado, the best defensive third baseman in baseball. He knew he didn't have a play. And you mentioned Bud Black, the Rockies manager, being a former pitcher, and he's right out there here in the first inning talking to his rookie pitcher.
Well, Hoffman has pitched much better on the road than he has here at home, and it's natural. I'm sure just about everybody that pitches here long enough, the ERA is going to be higher here than on the road. Well, for Bud Black, I'm sure he's going out there and telling him, hey, you've done nothing wrong. You're down 2. You've only got an out, but you've pitched extremely well. You've had 2 infield hits on basically swinging bunts. You had a ground ball that could have been a double play that goes through. Maybe the only thing you might say, oh, the walk, but it's McCutchen, and he's as hot as anybody. Yeah. So I'm sure it was a pep talk saying, listen, I mean, you're doing great. Keep it up.
Now Polanco. Got 2 men aboard.
I mean, I know as a hitter it could be frustrating at times when you're up there and you hit a ball hard and it's right at somebody.
And look at what Jeff Hoffman has done. These are their earned run averages at home and on the road, in the difference of about 4 runs. Now, he hasn't pitched here the whole season, but still, for a young pitcher pitching in this ballpark. And they've had many of them. I mean, a lot of the Rockies rotation are rookie pitchers, but for Hoffman, at least so far, the splits are pretty pronounced.
Yeah, and it's going to happen. And I think that's another reason. I mean, I think Bud Black, You almost have to be a psychologist with these pitchers when they pitch here and just say, hey, listen, you're going to have rough nights.
That's slammed into right. And Bell will be held at third. Gonzalez got it in quickly. So 4 hits in the inning, and the base is full of buccos, and Cervelli's coming up.
And Hoffman throws a lot of fastballs early in the ball game. It's kind of been his MO early in his career. And he goes to Polanco right down the pipe, and he crushes it, hits it hard. And unfortunately for Gregory, too hard and too much on a line to pick up an RBI, as Josh Bell had to freeze and make sure that ball was going through before breaking.
So Bell has moved up to third, Freeze at second, and Polanco at first. Cervelli's having a nice July. 359 this month. Base is full with 1 out. Chance to really make a statement here early. And I don't care if the Pirates get 4 or 5 in this first inning. It's Coors Field. You need to have some innings like that here, especially the way the Rockies have been swinging the bat.
I mean, again, you need a lot of runs to score to win in this ballpark.
And
Simple as that.
And Clint Hurdle was talking about, you don't pitch to ERA here, you just pitch to try to win. And there are 3-1 games here, but there are more 7-5 type games. That might be 2. And indeed it is. And the Pirates will get 2, though, here in the top of the first. And Trevor Williams will get the nod here in the last half. First, David Freese with that little ground ball that played it a run. Now the Colorado Rockies will come up, and Charlie Blackmon's atop that order, the All-Star, with LeMahieu to follow. Arenado, 19 RBIs in his last 13 games. Gerardo Parra has been red hot. Ian Desmond gets the start at first. Carlo Gonzalez has not hit so far this year. Story, Wolters, and Hoffman round out the order.
And Trevor Williams, his first experience here in Denver. 19 games, 13 of them as a starter, 59 strikeouts and 80 2/3 innings. Pretty good command, 22 walks, just 8 home runs allowed. And if you're Trevor, don't change a thing. Keep pitching the way you've pitched. And he's had pretty good command, pitched backwards at times.
And the defense behind him. There's Jordy Mercer. His double play partner is Josh Harrison. Freese and Bell on the corners with Marte, McCutchen, and Polanco in the outfield. And Francisco Cervelli will do the catching tonight. Back in there after Chris Stewart. 3 hits yesterday. Stewart's first start since July 4th. Cervelli's been catching a lot, benefiting from that All-Star break, enabling him to do that. Charlie Blackmon working on a 14-game hitting streak. Leads baseball in hits. And it's not just he's not just a slap hitter like he kind of started off in his career with a lot of speed. Now the home run power the last few years has developed. He is just an all-around dangerous hitter.
Looks a little dangerous.
Yeah. Unless you need some trees knocked down or something, then that's your guy. He's been growing that beard for a few years.
The hair too.
Well, this Rockies lineup, they came off of 4 straight wins now, and in that span, putting up 49 runs.
Tell you what, some pretty good pitches there from Trevor Williams, and early on, and you know, tight strike zone for these pitchers, and there were some pitches missed with Hoffman on the mound, and now with Trevor Williams on the mound. You see 3 pitches in the strike zone, 2 out of the strike zone, but a 5-pitch walk, and that could make for a very long night for starting pitchers here at Coors Field. Again, fast infield, the ball carries. Great hitter's park. If you have an umpire helping the hitter, that just makes matters worse.
Now, what if that becomes a theme as a pitcher? Do you have to start pitching a little bit closer toward the middle of the plate to get those strike calls?
Well, I mean,
is that how they adjust?
If you want strikes, I mean, if they're going to continue to call the borderline pitch a ball, and the opponent isn't swinging, yeah, you're going to have to adjust.
DJ LeMay. And that's what makes this a fascinating series, because the Pirates have been pitching so well.
Yeah, and I think the offense has been hitting pretty well. The Milwaukee, I talked about this with some folks today. The Pirates' offense was limited against the Brewers, and everybody wants to discount the Brewers and say, oh, they're done. But I mean, they pitched very well against a bunch of Pirate hitters that I thought were swinging the bat well. That they've limited the Pirates offensively. We're seeing tonight the Pirates obviously off to a good start with the 2 runs scored. They're capable of scoring runs. Are they capable of scoring 9 a game over the next 9? Probably not. But yes, you'll hope that the better pitching can limit the Rockies' offense, because I do believe I would give the Pirates pitchers an edge over the Rockies pitchers. But I think the Pirates' offense is capable of much more than what we've seen.
And this is a good place to let loose in that department. Blackman can run. 0-2 on LeMahieu. That's a fair ball. And Blackman streaking to third will be held there on the double by LeMahieu.
Yeah, that's what makes him a good hitter, LeMahieu. He's always hitting 300 plus. He doesn't show much power, but he'll use the whole field. And I wouldn't be surprised with 2 strikes and a runner on first base. He's taking advantage of that hole over there with the first baseman in, holding the runner on, just try to block a ball through that hole in protection mode.
Led baseball in batting average last year, 348. Well, now, I guess the goal all night, if you're going to look at their best hitter, Arenado, who's up here, trying to see if he can, as you said, limit traffic. Well, he's got 2 men aboard. Rockies were off yesterday, and let's see, Blackman getting some liberties and then faked back.
He's going to take as much room as David Freese will let him. Keep an eye on David Freese and try to just get off. And Francisco Cervelli just let him know that he was paying attention.
Arenado leading with 80 RBIs. He had 7 in his last game on Wednesday. And hitting .402 with runners in scoring position. That gets through. They'll get a run across here. Still nobody out in the first. RBI 81 for Arenado. And the same conversation could probably be had with Trevor Williams right now, right? That Bud Black had with Hoffman.
Sure. I mean, got squeezed a bit with Blackman up there. LeMahieu just kind of blocked the ball inside the bag. Going the other way, Arenado, again, quick infield. Finds a hole.
LeMahieu up to third. Ray Searage will probably pick his spots tonight because I'm sure there could be a lot of time that Trevor Williams spends on his couch. Gerardo Parra is the cleanup man. And if you're thinking, well, in this lineup, why would he be batting fourth? He's hitting .528 in his 9 games since coming off the DL. When he gets hot, he's had some stretches of 20 games here, 20 games there, where he can hit over 500. He will really turn it up.
Yeah, and he has some pop as well. But there's plenty of guys on this Rockies roster that are capable of hitting in this cleanup spot, including their leadoff hitter. I mean, you look at Blackman and you see 67 RBIs out of leadoff spot. How many would he have if he hit in the middle of the order? You know, he may be leading Arenado in that department.
For a National League leadoff hitter.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. So LeMahieu's at third. Men on the corner, still no men out. And falling in front of McCutchen. And that ties the game. And the 40th RBI for Parra.
And I was hopeful, and I was thinking when that ball was hit, that's another thing about Coors Field that I guess could be a disadvantage for a batter. You hit a line drive, it just stays in the air. It doesn't come down. I thought Andrew was going to catch that. I thought it was going to carry out to Andrew McCutchen, but it stays up, stays up, stays up. But obviously Andrew unable to get there. And another hit, 3 straight, and that's why when you have the opportunities like the Pirates have or had in the top of the first, bases loaded, 1 out, 2 already in, you like to take advantage. That was a big double play ball offered up by Hoffman.
So 2 on, still nobody out. And Cervelli, who has been through this experience before, trying to get Williams to know. Now it's a 0-0 game, right? I mean, it's just, all right, reset. Ian Desmond, who has missed a good portion of this season. From the outset, new Rocky. You keep seeing all those numbers with runners in scoring position, as you detailed, Rock. The Rockies 312 as a team.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
And as we've seen this inning with both the Pirates and the Rockies, I think that's the biggest misnomer about this ballpark. It's not the home runs. It's all the other stuff that it's just hard to get out of an inning.
Sure.
And that will help. A double play. And Arenado at third, but now 2 outs. And when you talk about Williams, just keep doing what he's doing, right? Pound that sinker down in the bottom of the strike zone.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you hope for here. You hope to get weak contact on the ground. And, that tied up Desmond a bit. An easy 2-hopper for Mercer. Routine double play ball, and that's what you set out to do, is try to keep the ball on the ground. And again, that doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to get outs. There's been a number of ground balls that have gotten through, or swinging bunts, or what have you.
Carlos, one of the perennial stars around baseball has had a down year in his pending free agent season.
I mean,
inexplicably so.
I don't understand this at all. I mean, the numbers here. I mean, the power numbers, the RBIs, the average, every bit of it here in Colorado.
It's gotten to the point where he's not even playing every day anymore.
And when you look at the number, you think, was he hurt or is he limited at bat? I mean, he has 275 at bats, just 6 homers, 25 RBIs. That's crazy
for a guy who routinely puts up 30 and 40 home runs this season. Miss hit out there, and that's going to bring in the run. It was not well hit at all, but the outfielders have to play deep here, and they're going to get a 2-out RBI.
Some will say they shouldn't play deep. I mean, and some we've seen different philosophies here, home and away, where some will say you're better off taking away this type of hit than playing deep, because a fly ball most of the time hit well is going to leave the park anyhow. And so take away the bloop in front of you, because if the ball is hit decently, it's going to leave the ballpark. And I'm sure there's been a lot of back and forth with that with different teams on how to defend here at Coors Field, because it is so big. But I've seen the Rockies do it. I've seen the Pirates do it in the past. The Marlins. I've seen where they'd move the outfielders in to prevent that. I mean,
then you get those balls lined out to the gap that you might be able to cut off, and then instead they could roll for hours.
That's why that would be the argument for playing deep, is that you're going to try to cut off the balls in the gap. But again, the gaps are huge. The grass is short. The ball's going to fly. So far, what do we have? 8 hits and 1 double, and that was a ground ball. And so, how do you do it? I mean, again, how do you defend Coors Field?
Pick your poison.
Soak the balls in water instead of the humidor.
Trevor Story, the 7th man in the Rockies order with 2 away.
I'd say this: if I was Bud Black, a pitching guy, I'd make them grow the grass. Especially in the infield. I'd tell them, hey, I want at least 3 inches of grass out there.
There with bench coach Mike Redmond. Rockies brain trust, a former battery. Yeah, but that makes all the sense in the world, right? I mean, if you're going to pound a ball through the middle, at least try to have it slow down a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you have a lineup that's got so much power in it. I mean, the Rockies are going to hit their fair share of home runs. Not every team that comes in here is going to be a home run hitting team, and so I think it would benefit the Rockies more than the visitor by growing the grass. And I think especially when you have a young pitching staff, throw them a bone.
Well, Williams is weathering the storm here. I'm talking with Daniel Hudson, who has pitched here quite a bit in his days with Arizona, and he was saying, you just try to focus on every pitch and not let the inning spiral out of control. And 3 runs, that's not the issue. It's we're looking at each batter here, and Williams is still getting ahead. We're seeing some moderate contact from him, and I think that was probably what the crux of Ray Searage's reminder to him too.
Yeah, I mean, you can't vary from the game plan. He's been getting squeezed a little bit, as has the Rocky starter Hoffman, and so you can't vary or go away from your game plan because of the ballpark or the umpire. Still going to try to execute pitches.
This will be the 26th of the inning, and he'll get Story. And the book closes here on the Rockies through an inning, 3-2 Colorado.
TNT Sportsnet is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network, the largest health system rated #1 in the region for all the things that matter most. And by Kenny Ross Subaru, Total Confidence Pricing. Let's go Bucks!
And some Pirates fans here at Coors. It has been an exciting last couple of weeks. Pirates playing themselves back into the swing of things here. And we have seen the swing of things here so far through an inning. 3-2 Rockies as we begin the second. Both teams sending up 7 men in their first innings. Jordy checking in at 265.
Yeah, both teams went 4 for 6 in the first.
We'll see if the rookie pitchers can settle in, though neither was hit particularly hard by any means.
No.
Just a collection of hits.
It's one of those innings that could happen in any ballpark, really.
Yeah. And fooled. Mercer down on strikes.
Yeah, don't tell Jeff Hoffman that the curveball doesn't work in high altitude. And that was a big bender, freezing Mercer.
Now look at the lowdown, and the Cardinals making a swap of prospects, getting an outfielder. They need some outfield help. Tyler O'Neill from Seattle for Marco Gonzalez, and looks like Chris Bryant's going to be out for the rest of that Cardinals series. Cubs losing today. Cardinals with 9 runs before they recorded an out in the 8th inning.
Crazy. I mean, it's anything can happen. And I don't think there was a single homer in that inning, if I'm not mistaken.
That means if the Pirates win tonight, Pirates find themselves a game back of the Cubs, entering play tonight 3 back of Milwaukee, which we saw they're trailing. Little light raindrops falling. And Williams, coming off his first hit of his career in his last start, draws a walk. Yeah, just a little light rain.
Crazy weather here in Denver. I mean, it's been raining north, south, east, and west of here pretty much all afternoon, but this is the first we've seen of any precipitation.
I think wherever somebody lives, they think the weather's crazy. I know it is here.
Yeah.
Especially in the spring and the fall, right? Pretty unpredictable.
Yep.
But Black now getting used to these environs.
Can have the heat on one day and the air conditioner on the next.
Marte had an infield hit. Got Williams aboard. There's a souvenir. Oh, those guys are happy. Look at that. Bring your glove. Talking with Starling today about all that time that he spent down in Bradenton, and you know, instead of just kind of going away for a while, he wanted to continue to work, and the Pirates asked him to do it. He wanted to do it, and so he spent that whole time during his 80-game suspension down, with the exception of the rehab games in Indianapolis, of course, but that whole time down in Bradenton. And he said he wanted to try to get better. And I thought of Jameson Taillon and what he said. Remember when he came back last season after missing the 2 years with Tommy John surgery and the hernia surgery, and that Marte was trying to kind of do the same thing. And with the guys that have been suspended, that's not always what you see. So I thought that was an interesting facet to Marte's suspension, is that he wanted to keep trying to get better as a baseball player. So he said he picked up a few things.
Well, sure. I mean, obviously playing at an elite level, under contract, you make a mistake. A baseball career is short. I mean, why not? I mean, what else? What other option do you have? I guess.
Right. Make the best of.
It would be rather selfish to go sit on the couch.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Some guys have done that. And that doesn't mean to pat Marte on the back or anything like that, but just to say that, just to explain that's what he did, and I thought it was interesting. So he's back, 4th game in action now, and he will take his base. So 2 on without the aid of a hit. Harrison coming up next, and then McCutchen. And coming up on Saturday, it's a free shirt Saturday on August the 5th, when the Pirates host the Padres at 7:05, and the first 20,000 fans will receive a Pirates t-shirt thanks to Peoples. And then before the game, you can join us for a block party out on Federal Street. There'll be alumni autographs and the Kugel Bar, and you can get your tickets at pirates.com/free shirt Saturday. Pirates embarking on a week-and-a-half long road trip, beginning here in Denver tonight.
A little bit of a slick bat. Harrison going to work.
Pine tar stick. I wonder how they extract that pine tar. It's really sticky. I mean,
yeah, I think that's a Manny Mota invention. That Manny Mota stick, I think, is what it's called, but I'm not quite sure. But that particular thing, yeah, you rub that on your bat, it gets plenty sticky. I wasn't a fan.
You'd go with a dry bat?
Tried to stay dry. Yeah, I didn't like sticky. I like dry.
And the batting donut is now given way to just kind of a batting weight. It used to be a small circle.
I would think there's still some of those around.
I get a whole bunch of cool stuff down there for you to use while you're waiting. Just missed with the curve.
Yeah, that's the one thing I think that would probably frustrate the pitching coach and perhaps the manager, is that curveball again. Yeah. Strike zone says it's at the bottom of the knees. But in this ballpark, I would really think you'd really want to limit the free passes.
And the Pirates have 2 men on a walk to the pitcher Williams and a hit batter. Slammed out toward the gap, and Blackman cuts it off. He's awfully good out there.
I'd say so. I mean, I thought that was headed to the wall. I thought that was scoring too, as did Marte. Marte got off. He was ready to go to the races, but boy, did he cover ground in a hurry.
Watch his
this
jump.
Was slicing away, and he got over there easily. And J.A. hit that ball well. He was playing him in towards right center, which obviously helped, but you know, from where we're sitting, which is right behind home plate, about 2 levels up, it looked like it was ticketed for the wall.
That was the best ball the Pirates have hit tonight.
Oh yeah,
and it's an out. And now you got McCutchen up with 2 on and 2 out, down a run. McCutchen took a free pass his first time. And that ball that Harrison hit too, you know, it made me think that Williams is the lead runner, who admittedly after his last start he was running the bases, said doesn't have a whole lot of experience on the bases. Marte is you know, the world-class runner behind him, so
Yeah.
if you hit a ball out to the gap, don't pass him. Might be like that beat the freeze thing that they got going on in Atlanta.
I mean, that would have been one of those instances if Harrison's ball went to the wall where Trevor Williams and Marte would have scored almost one right after another. I guarantee you Marte would have been a step behind.
Two one, and now a favorable count, 3-1. Hoffman has thrown 41 pitches. Josh Bell snuck a ball on the ground through the infield for an RBI his first time up. Williams at second, Marte at first. And ball four. So McCutchen draws another walk. And without a hit in the inning, the Pirates have loaded the bases. Text your friends. Yeah, and I think Bud Black is thinking the same thing that you just said a minute ago, Rock. In this ballpark, you don't want to walk guys.
Nope. Especially the opposing pitcher that has one career hit. And he did that on 4 pitches.
Williams now down at third with the jacket on.
Although a couple of them looked like they were strikes, but still.
Bell out toward the gap, and this one ain't gonna get caught. It goes all the way to the wall. One run is in. Marte is in. Here comes McCutchen. It clears the bases. A double for Bell, and the Pirates lead again.
And that's why you don't want to walk guys. You know, 3 free passes, 2 walks and a hit batter. Takes 1 swing to put 3 on the board. And this time the curveball, it just to get me over curveball. I'm guessing Hoffman thought he could flip it in there for a strike and get ahead 0-1, but he left it up. Bell looked like he was sitting on it. Not necessarily sure if that was the case, but boy, he hit it like he was sitting on it. Continues to get the extra base hits and the RBIs.
4 runs batted in tonight for Josh Bell already. That was a big blow with 2 outs. Pirates back on top 5-3. And with 52 runs batted in for the Pirates rookie. That was the first hit of the inning.
Now, Hoffman, he had some more command issues last year than he has so far this year. I think I saw he's walked 17 and just over 31 innings a year ago. This year he walked 17 and twice as many innings.
And tonight he's thrown almost as many balls as strikes. Well, he's walked 3 and hit a batter. All have come around to score.
And there, a little right on right changeup had David Freese out in front.
Pirates have already equaled the most runs they've scored in any game in the second half this season. 5 runs, so already $5 off. Pirates.com/howmanyruns. That's for tickets for the Pirates' next homestand for every run scored by the Pirates in this series here at expansive Coors Field. So off to a good start.
Yeah.
Hoffman back into a full count again. Freese had a little swing and bunt base hit for an RBI in the first, but even when he's had those prolonged dry spells swinging the bat, he's been able to draw the walk.
What's a bit of a shock to me is the slugging. His on base percentage higher than his slugging, which is rare. A bit odd, but 58 hits now. Just 14 of them for extra base hits. I mean, this is a guy that has power.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a mystery.
He says he's trying to figure out some things with his swing. 30th pitch of the inning, and he'll draw a walk. A fourth one already issued by Hoffman. Third in the inning. And Bud Black, he might be,
going to the phone.
Steve Foster out to talk here. And Gregory Polanco will be coming up with 2 men aboard. And yesterday, I mean, this was shot out of a cannon.
He has that kind of power. A line drive from Polanco, 4 rows deep.
So Polanco with a single his first time. He really ripped that base hit, but he hit it too well. Couldn't score the runner from second. Hitting close to 400 now in July. Underneath it. And that will end it. But the Pirates strike for 3 more. Josh Bell, a 2-out bases clearing double. And now the Pirates have the lead again. We're through an inning and a half at Rough and Tumble Coors. 5-3 Buccos. Board through an inning and a half. 5-3. Josh Bell with a bases clearing double with 2 outs in the top half. And Trevor Williams in his first time at Coors. You gotta feel like, he got a couple of runs before he ever took the mound. Now, after giving up 3 in the first, he's got a 2-run lead again. That's got to help him settle right in, doesn't it?
Sure. I mean,
well, and that one will trickle past Bell. Walters in at second base, and you got to get that ball in. He was thinking about going to third.
And again, that ball deflected from Bell. Tough little play. Kind of took it off to his side. It looked like it went under his glove, but got a piece of it. And Polanco, he almost misjudged it, almost rolled by him into the corner. No, that actually went up above the glove of Bell. He did get a little piece of it.
And Walters will be awarded a double. Hoffman will try to move him. And he'll go to third. And they got him. Cervelli gets the lead runner.
That's a big play. I mean, you figure you're going to concede the run with Blackmon coming up to the plate. The infield will be back with a runner on third. If Hoffman could have done the job, but for one, the direction not good. Trying to bunt the ball towards first, and that's we talk about it all the time. Bunting the ball to third base when there's a runner on second base. Make the third baseman field it. It's an easy sacrifice, but he tries to push it to first base side. Cervelli able to get out there, get off the strong throw, easy out.
Now Hoffman will run the bases with one out. Joe West, crew chief tonight, just celebrating his 5,000th career game umpiring recently. He is a staple.
It's remarkable. I didn't know they kept track of such things.
Well, they have something in the umpire book, squats. How many times they've worked behind the plate in their career? They call it squats. I don't know what the Joe West number is, but it's high. But he began umpiring major league games before I was born, so I think that's the one that really sticks out at me. I'm thinking, my goodness, I'm middle-aged, and he's been doing it before I was even around. So fascinating to see the great. Now what does he do here? Let's see. Out and. Hey, when you've been doing this 40+ years, you can do that.
No, that's funny.
He's one of interesting guy on and off the field too. All the Country Joe and the country music albums that he has released. He used to be the starting quarterback at Elon College back in the 70s. So I mean, a good athlete back in his day.
And he loves the game. Still keep going out there, doing his thing.
September 1976. It was his first game. Two balls and 2 strikes here on Blackmon, who drew a walk his first time around.
Wasting another pitch is Blackmon. Change up that time.
Hey. Nice. Didn't spill a drop either. Good job.
Everybody gets excited when they get a souvenir. It doesn't matter the age. Saw this youngster, what, about 10 or 12?
Yeah. One of the great things about baseball. Ball comes in there, you get to keep it.
Another borderline pitch. W.B. Mason. Well, lights it up once again. Not getting a call.
And if you're going to miss low, right? And Alfonso Marquez has called a tight strike zone for both pitchers tonight. And they get 1 and 2. The only 2 times this season that Blackmon has grounded into a double play have been against the Pirates. He is awfully tough to double up, the toughest, in fact. And the Pirates turn the trick, and they got a lead. Right now, as the Cubs slipping today, and the Pirates could pull to within a game of the Cubs. Brewers are losing right now. Aaron Nola's pitching a gem for the Phillies. So, well, you know, this one's a long way from over, but the Pirates win tonight. Brewers lose. They're 2 games back and a game behind the Cubs, and all of a sudden, my eyes are going to pop out of the sockets right now. I mean, the way that the Pirates have played over these past 2 weeks, they played themselves right back into the thick of things here. I'm speechless.
Yeah,
it's great.
A chance to pick up 6 games in 6 days.
We've been seeing this guy throughout the day. He's got the Kent Tekulve uniform, but he's got the pants,
the stirrups, the stars.
He's got everything. And Cervelli will start things. Yeah, got the Stargell stars on it, embroidered in.
Although Teek's hat was always covered all the way around in Stargell stars.
They don't let you do that anymore in baseball. They did bring him back kind of this year. Little gummed patches that the players can't put on their hats, but they can put them on their lockers, where most of the guys do. So that has been kind of the thing. Polanco has his up on his nameplate above his locker, for instance. So a way to reward guys for doing something a little extra.
Wonder why you're not allowed to do that anymore. Put them on your hat.
Well, the baseball was trying to limit the commercialization, I think, and there was kind of a gray area with that, I think, at some point. I remember Craig Biggio wanted to put, there was a charity that he was involved with. I think it was a sunshine of some sort that he wanted to put on his hat, and they said no, because then what's this, what's that? So they just shut it all down. But it was fun when they used to be able to still do that. And Camara Marti celebrates a birthday today, in fact, but he's the one that kind of helped really kind of get that going again. in his first year as a major league coach with the Pirates. Slammed to center. And pass Blackmon. Here goes Cervelli off to the races. He's at second. He's tugging to third. And Joey Cora is going to hold him up. A triple for Cervelli.
Boy, and you know, off the bat, that looked like an out. I thought that Blackmon was going to be able to get over there and make that catch. The Harrison ball we thought was going to be extra bases. He catches it. This one, again, he's over in right center, but off the bat, it looked like it was going to kind of come back towards him. Maybe he thought it was going to come back towards him. Not really a dive, but a fall after the ball got by him. And Cervelli rewarded. I think he thought that ball was going to get caught. You saw him slow down there for a minute. But a triple.
Gets his cardio in. Doesn't roll far away enough. So runner at third with nobody out. Hey, keep adding on here. Second triple now for Cervelli. Infield halfway. Mercer's been good with men in scoring position this year. Got a chance here. And with nobody out, Cervelli staying put.
And even without the infield really in, the infield was about halfway.
Yeah. So one gone. And our day automotive this day in Pirates history. Back in '97, the freak show Pirates beating the Phillies 3-2, and Al Martin tying the game with a 2-run home run in the 6th off Kurt Schilling, and Kevin Polkovich with the solo home run off Schilling to give the Pirates the lead. Esteban Loaiza going 6 strong, and was thinking about that freak show outfit yesterday when the Pirates secured that 4-game sweep. That was the last team to have a 4-game sweep of a first place ball club. They swept the Cardinals right around the 4th of July that year and ended up moving into first place. And now the Pirates have done that, and they're on the brink.
Crazy year. It may end up being a similar year in terms of how many wins it takes to win the division. Watching the Rockies and their defensive alignment here. With Mercer up, they were playing about halfway, knowing that a runner with nobody out at third, not going to risk the offensive team. The Pirates aren't going to risk to make that first out at home.
Put it in play, but right at LeMahieu.
Yeah, and so they were afforded a little more range, so they backed up a little bit. Now with the pitcher hitting, they came in a little bit with 1 out, thinking, you know, it's more likely to maybe go on contact with 1 out. It's not going to happen with nobody out. And so far, Hoffman has done a good job getting the first 2 here after the leadoff triple.
Takes away the sac fly possibility. Marte an infield hit and hit with a pitch. Looking back, by the way, at that '97 outfit, the Astros won the division that year with 84 wins, and no one else was above 500. Pirates tied for second, or I should say alone in second with those 79 wins. Cervelli with a leadoff triple. Still there with 2 away now. Hoffman at 64 pitches. He's gotten 8 outs so far.
I'm actually surprised that it's only 64. that long second inning after the long first inning. I mean, he gets out of this with this pitch. I mean, less than 22 per inning. It's kind of amazing, really.
Well, he like Williams, were both trying to hit the edges, and 20 in the first, 31 in the second, and really buckling down after that leadoff triple. Rockies brain trust, working with a lot of rookie pitchers this year.
He got the one chase from Marte on the curveball to get ahead in the count. And a couple more pitches, soft and out of the zone. Marte not chasing.
Two. Foul tip. The Pirates get that leadoff triple, but leave him on. But the Pirates own the advantage, 5-3.
Cast is presented by the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
On our UPMC scoreboard, the Pirates 5, Rockies 3. We're in the third inning tonight. Happy birthday to Jim Tredinich, longtime Pirates PR man, celebrating an anniversary of his 29th birthday today. So happy birthday, Jimmy T. He works hard. He and I were talking this morning about some different stats to throw out there. A lot of the stats that we bring you are from he and Danny Hart, Terry Rogers, the PR staff that support us all the time. So thanks to them too. Trevor Williams working with the lead. He worked around a leadoff double in the second. LeMahieu had one of his own in the first. And that broke his bat.
Pretty good movement, late movement, running in. That fastball, I think, was only 89, so I don't know if he took a little off, but just above the hands.
Williams a more reasonable pitch count so far, just 40.
Boy, look at the location there. I mean, that's where you want to be. And again, not getting that low strike call.
Well, that's something that, more and more pitchers I've been reading about and then talking to a few of them. We're seeing baseball start to bring that strike zone up, I think. That hollow of the knee, it's more to the true part of the knee now. And we're not seeing that tonight for sure. That was the second walk issued by Williams. And Arenado. Base hit single his first time. 81 RBIs. Williams has already gotten a couple of double play balls behind him today. Arenado has grounded into 13 of those. Probably because he hits the ball so hard.
Yeah. There you go. Beautiful.
And Williams has turned a double play in every inning so far tonight. And that erases the leadoff walk. So 2 gone and the base is empty. Pirates Charities Night on AT&T Sportsnet. Coming up on Wednesday, August the 2nd. Pirates will be hosting the Reds, and you can tune in and help support those affected by cancer in our community by purchasing backpacks filled with exclusive merchandise, including a Pirates Charlie Brown bobblehead, commemorative plates, autographed baseballs, so much more. And to learn more, go to pirates.com/charity night, August 2nd. Gerardo Parra batting with the bases empty. Has anyone batted with the bases empty other than the leadoff man tonight? Doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, there's been a lot of traffic, but Trevor Williams again keeping the ball down, getting the ground balls. I mean, those 3 double play balls, huge.
Gave up 3 in the first, and Pirates went back and got him the lead again. And they're starting to settle in now. This can be a house of horrors. And not deviating from his, from what has made Trevor Williams an effective major league pitcher. Not getting those borderline strikes at times, still just peppering the bottom of the strike zone. Putting everything on the windowsill.
And yeah, that's a nice pitch, nice location. Looked like it had a little cut action almost. It cut the outside corner.
Our W.B. Mason strike zone. Friendly hop for Mercer. And they'll face the minimum in the third, aided by another double play ball. Trevor Williams has got the lead through 3.
Rockies trail the Pirates as we hit inning number 4 by a 5-3 score. I'm Robbie. It's Mikowski. Well, hitters have walk-up music. Pitchers have walk-out music. And the Colorado Rockies today, they had BP music, and it was thanks to Nolan Arenado, who paid to have a DJ come in and take care of all the music during batting practice this afternoon. Now, it's standard for teams to take batting practice and have the normal steady music here. Well, Nolan Arenado compared the sound of that to being like one of those Bluetooth pill speakers, so he just paid to have a DJ come on in, and I'm telling you, this place was like a nightclub. And I know Joe and John, you guys were here, and I'm sure you heard it, and Joe, I'm sure you were dancing along some of our type of music, rock. I don't know if you're recent music guy like they were playing today, but it was a lot of fun and a pretty cool thing for Nolan Arenado to do that, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but certainly the vibe was different this afternoon.
Well, thanks, Robbie, for that. You know, the Rockies feeling good. They've won 4 in a row. They've been scoring a bunch of runs.
We were bumping up here.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to say something cool there, and I had nothing to say. I think I've absolutely lost my cool now. I have no cool left.
You didn't lose your cool when you were spinning on your head during BP. That was pretty cool. I mean, you know, you had your little hat on and you were spinning around back here.
Yeah,
that was really cool. You know, I didn't think you could do that. I mean, you did like no hands spinning on your head. That was neat.
Just trying to be humble. This one will get down. And that one gets by Blackmon. That was going to be a single, and Harrison is safe. Desmond got back there to cover the bag. Likely going to be a single and an error here. We'll see.
J-Hay doesn't like to stop, but yeah, you see Blackmon kicks it, just doesn't stay down on it. And J-Hay, as soon as he saw that go to the wall, he was thinking nothing but third. But with nobody out, you want to be pretty sure that you can get to third, and that usually means get there standing. And I don't know if he meant to stop or if he just lost his footing, because J-Hay's not one to stop. Once he gets going full speed, he wants to get that extra base.
So the Pirates have a leadoff man in scoring position. Andrew McCutchen has walked twice. Yeah, I think he fell. Otherwise, yeah, he might find himself at third, or at least a play. And I mean, they award Harrison a double. That should have been an error after the single, but who cares? He's on his way home, and he is going to be safe. The throw is cut off. RBI single for McCutchen. The Pirates have a half dozen.
You gotta love it. I say it all the time. Getting a runner over from second to third with no out doesn't mean you're not going to get a hit in an RBI. And that's why the guys that don't attempt to hit the ball over that way, I never understand it. But Andrew McCutchen gets a pitch out over the plate and does exactly that. Hits a ground ball to the right side. He knows at the very least Josh Harrison's going to get the third. But you're rewarded. Base hit and an RBI.
54th run batted in for McCutchen. Pirates lead by 3 now. Josh Bell has driven in 4 runs already, tying a career high. A single and a double. We're in the 4th inning. Hoffman's pitch count at 74 here. He's got 9 outs. McCutchen aboard with no men out.
Joe West just called time
Jordan Lyles getting up in the Rockies pen already. Making sure everybody's okay in the stands, I believe. McCutcheon with 9 steals. But like you're talking about, Rock, I think you made a good point earlier about you don't want to run into outs here because there are more hits.
Yeah, I mean,
to be found.
You can run yourself out of a big inning. Here, I mean, you're more likely to put up a crooked number than just a 1. And so obviously, if you run into an out, picked off, or something like that. Outs are valuable, and so you don't want to give them any on the bases.
And the heart of the order for the Pirates tonight with McCutcheon, Bell, and Freese. They haven't made an out tonight. Been up 7 times. There's Freese, single and a walk. Already every Pirate has reached either via a hit or a walk, or both in some cases, other than Mercer. Even Williams has walked. There's Trevor. Gave up 3 runs in the first and has kept a Rockies team that has averaged almost 9 runs a game over its last 9 games so far, keeping them, well, I guess on pace for 9 runs. But the Pirates are on pace for more.
Josh Bell's so good at wasting pitches, and we've seen that one before where he pulls the hands in on a pitch borderline.
I asked him about that the other day. Sometimes he'll swing at one that looks like it's going to hit him in the legs.
Yeah.
And he said that he's adjusting to either a slider or a cutter, and instead of just giving up on it, you know, you've committed your swing and you're going to miss it, he's still trying to make some sort of contact. Because usually it's with 2 strikes that he's swinging that way, so he's just trying to stay alive.
And it's not a lot of guys can do that. I mean, that's why it's so rare and unusual to watch, because there just aren't very many hitters you could see do it. Well, usually guys commit, and they commit, and they typically miss and are walking back to the dugout. But Josh Bell has an uncanny ability of using those hands.
Lays off that. McCutcheon driving in Harrison. Pirates have added to their lead. Pirates coming in have won 5 in a row and 11 of their last 13. Both the Cubs and Brewers have already lost tonight. So a victory here would put the Pirates within 2 games of first and 1 behind the Cubs. But a long way to go here at Coors.
Oh, yeah.
Now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Tried to get him to chase the curveball. That's a pitch he likes to go to get outs. I mean, that's what Josh Bell hit, by the way, for the 3-run double, the big hit so far in the ball game. Coming in, opponents hit only .083 against that curveball. And Josh making him work. Takes a pitch away. Now we'll see a 9th pitch.
First 5 were all fouled off. See if he can get something to his liking. The 3-2. And that shoots through. And McCutchen heading to third, and Parra bobbles it, and Bell will get into second base. How about that hustle?
You gotta like it. Put some pressure on the defense. And as an outfielder, when you don't show urgency, when you just kind of take things for granted, that's when you can be taken advantage of by a heads-up base runner. If you get to the ball with urgency, you get it in with urgency, that's how you stop the running game. But if you just kind of mosey on over, Parra, a good defensive outfielder, whiffs on it, and Josh Bell heads up.
And after that, Jeff Hoffman heads out. That hit and the error by Parra knocked the Rocks starter out. And Bell with 3 hits already tonight. Jordan Lyles coming on. Pirates leading by 3. Here in Denver. Yeah, the Pirates leading 6-3, looking for more with 2 in scoring position.
And Jordan Lyles 0-2, a 6.69 ERA, 31 games, 29 punch-outs, 41 2/3 innings.
He has struggled. Had the makings of a very good young pitcher in his days with Houston.
And I don't know if I'd want to be a long man for Colorado because most of the time, if you're a long man, you're pitching here. You're not pitching on the road nearly as often.
That's a good point. And facing a team that feels good.
Yeah.
That particular night. Well, that doesn't feel good. Second time a Pirates batter's been hit tonight. And the Pirates have loaded him up. There are still nobody out.
That's got to be frustrating for David Freese, and not just because he got hit, because he wants the RBIs that are out there. I mean, put a ball in play with the infield back, you're going to get one. You know, get one to go through, you're going to end up with 2. So that's the last time you want to be hit, with runners at second and third, the infield back.
Well, now Polanco will get his chance. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Never can have enough here. Like dinner at grandma's. Polanco coming in at .390 this month. One career grand slam, that was last year in Miami. Inning started with a double by Harrison on a ball that got by Blackman. McCutchen scored him on a base hit. Bell had a base hit and moved to second on hustling when Gerardo Parra bobbled the ball. And then Freese hit by pitch. Jeff Hoffman went 3+ tonight. There's Bell. He's been in the mix quite a bit tonight. 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs already. Andrew McCutchen has been on base all 3 times. Scored a pair of runs already. I'll tell you what, Pirates patient at the plate.
Yes, and that's a good sign. And again, they didn't knock the cover off the ball against the Brewers. You can talk about the whole homestand, but I mean, you look at some of the Pirate hitters. I mean, Harrison is back to his normal self. McCutchen has been on fire, although not getting much to hit. Bell has been swinging the bat well. Polanco, Cervelli, Frazier's picked it up.
Softly hit. And Polanco will beat it out. He'll get a run batted in, and the Pirates have another. 7-3 Pirates.
We'll take that RBI, and hopefully Polanco is okay.
And knowing he has to really get down the line to beat out the back end.
Oh, holding that left hamstring. So, yeah, there's frustration there, and you hope that he kind of caught it before it's too bad. I can't imagine him staying in this game, whether it's a cramp or not. The way he's been swinging the bat, you hope that maybe just a cramp that'll only keep him out a couple of days and not a full-blown pull. But you can see the frustration because he's been pretty comfortable at the plate.
Oh, yeah. They had a strained left hamstring back in mid-May, and Adam Frazier is going to be coming in the game. Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies just had a cramp and came out of the game on Wednesday. That can happen here. It's hot, dry air, hard to stay hydrated. There's Blackmon. So that could be something that happens here a little bit more often than in other places too. So
you hope.
Better to play it safe, and we'll see. As soon as we get word, we'll let you know.
Yeah, with Polanco's reaction, though, it looks. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but he's reacting as if it's more than a cramp.
We're waiting on a pinch runner, and it's going to be Jaso. It looked like it was going to be Frazier initially. So Bell has moved to third, and Cervelli will bat with 2 men aboard and 2 runs in. Cervelli with a triple his last time, was left on. Deep fly ball can get Bell home from third. Jordan Lyles on in relief of Jeff Hoffman, who lasted 3+. Bell singled off him. That was the last batter he faced. Down the line. And Gonzalez sliding in, and that's a foul ball.
That's another odd thing about this ballpark. The ball doesn't slice or hook as much because of the thin air, which I found odd when I shagging fly balls. I'm like, well, that's really weird. Yeah, I guess because of the thin air, less resistance. So, yeah, it still will slice and hook, but just not as much.
And a little extra foul ground, not only down the lines in the outfield, but around the dugouts as well. So there can be more plays made.
Oh my!
That clipped Cervelli. He's the third Pirate hit tonight. And again, we'll see the bases loaded.
Why not?
So he'll take his base and look at our Point Park tweets. Was Garrett Cole holding up an oxygen tank for Cervelli after that triple that rolled to the center field wall? Yes, he was. You guys have better eyes than us. We must have missed it the first time around, but yeah. Garrett Cole trying to have some fun. Looking in the upper left, Garrett Cole coming up there with the sweatshirt on. Yeah, he's got the oxygen, a little tank. Hey, you needed that after that big triple. Pirates are having fun. They're loose right now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't know they had oxygen in the dugout, but
maybe just here, I guess, right?
Here with the thin air, sure. Quick thinking on the part of Cole.
So Bell at third, Jaso the pinch runner for Polanco, Cervelli at first. And that's going to get the Rockies out of it. But the Pirates add 2 more. And they lead 7-3.
It's time for the Toyota all-wheel drive RAV4 inning. Toyota, what drives you?
Here in the Wild West. That's what we've seen so far here in this ballgame. 7-3 Pirates. And how about the 2 double plays the Pirates have grounded into? They've turned 3. If it's not for some of that. Think of where this one would be headed tonight. Trevor Williams has gotten a double play ball in every inning tonight. Keeping the Rockies relatively quiet. A team that comes in averaging 9 runs a game over their last 9. John Jaso stays in the game for Polanco. And if we get word, when we get word, we'll pass it along to you. Looked like a leg concern for Polanco. Ian Desmond to start things for Colorado.
Hey, there's the low strike call finally. The folks,
you haven't called that all night.
Yeah. tell the guys in the Rockies dugout.
That's what Desmond's saying, right? Maybe Mr. Marquez's dinner reservations sees the pace of this one. All right.
Yeah. Open it up a little bit.
Ooh. Like connect 4 on our WB Mason strike zone.
Yeah. I mean, this is that cement mixer slider that doesn't really slide. It just comes out of the hand and stays in. Doesn't break a whole bunch, but that's a tough pitch for a hitter to hit because they see the spin and they expect it to break, and it doesn't. But still, Williams does not get the call.
Matter asks for time, and it's granted.
Yeah, I think they had a question about the count.
Well, it's 2-2. Into that mile-high sky. And Harrison sees it better.
Jay Hayes says, "Get out of the way." But yeah, it's that time of night, twilight, where a high pop-up, you'll lose for perhaps a second or so. I don't know if that was the case there, but
Move, Josh. Get out the way. And out to Harrison. In short right. And look at what Trevor Williams is doing. This is a Rockies team. I mean, they are as hot as they come offensively, averaging about 9 runs. I keep saying this, about 9 runs a game over the last 9 games. They're feeling good. They have a DJ out there today, Robbie was telling us. And Trevor Williams is just doing his thing. And after the 3-run first, he's faced the minimum.
yes, he has, and not a lot of hard contact, really. I mean,
even in that first inning.
And even in that first inning where he was getting squeezed a little bit, the strike zone was tight, and he just continues to execute the game plan, and continues to do what he's done since he's been in the rotation. One of the rare times there, he misses with the fastball location.
Trevor Story struck out looking in the first. Williams' only strikeout. Doesn't matter. He's got 3 double plays behind him.
Story with the 12 home runs. Didn't he have about that many in April last year?
Yeah, I think, what do you have, 7 in 6 games or something like that? Or what?
Yeah.
Quickest start.
I mean, you look at the lineup, again, there's some threats, but there are some guys that are having down years, and we already talked about Cargo. Even Ian Desmond, I know he's been injured a little bit, but his power numbers aren't there.
Story gets into one. But the ballpark will hold it. And Trevor Williams has his first 1, 2, 3 inning of the night through 4. Pirates still up by that many. The Pirates are up. Music from Nevada Color on a Friday Night Rocks, and it has the Pirates on top of the Rocks 7-3 as we begin the 5th. Jeff Hoffman has been knocked out of the game, and Jordan Lyles in his second inning of relief. Trevor Williams has already scored a run today.
Yeah, he wants to be a part of the offense.
Finally getting that first hit in his last start. Whoa.
Give him a hit.
Well, that you talked about that twilight sky. It's been a smart hitting. Cloudy, kind of a slate gray twilight sky right now. Yeah, Desmond looking up.
Now, you see it when it's on its way down. I mean, it's when it's at its peak, you don't see it. And there's no excuse for not catching that. For one, it wasn't a very high pop-up. You're not losing that one in the sky. He just missed it. And,
Ooh.
You know, again, when you get a high pop-up and it goes up there, you can lose it. That one wasn't hit high enough to lose it. It never got that high. It was just kind of in that triangle out there. The second baseman apparently couldn't get to it. Desmond saw it. He just whiffed it, hit off his thumb.
It's our Allegheny Health Network Supermo. So Trevor Williams gets his second major league hit. They award that a hit. And I'm glad that's not Williams' first, because when he's sitting in a rocking chair 50 years from now telling his grandkids how he got his first hit, probably don't want to talk about that one.
Well, he's hitting 400 over his last 2 starts with a couple runs scored, I think, or just one run scored.
I think 2.
But anyhow, Bob, I guess, ran into him earlier today, and Trevor Williams said he's going to try to do the impossible. So Bob was like, okay, what? And Bob said, get 2 hits. So he's halfway there.
Oh. Well, he's been on base twice. So the Brewers have lost today. The Cubs have lost today on the lowdown. That means the Pirates, if they win today, they're 2 games out of first, 1 game behind the Cubs. What'd you say, 6 games in 6 days on the division leader?
Yep.
It would be 7-7.
No, it's been 5-5.
Oh, 5 and today would be 6-6.
6-6. Yes.
I misunderstood you.
If the Pirates win. There's a long way to go.
That is a fair ball. And Walters getting the lead out. Nimble play by the Rockies catcher.
And that obviously he's got some speed on the bases. If you're going to get an out, obviously if he would have went the first, you have a runner in scoring position. But with Trevor Williams, go sit down, relax, get ready for the bottom half of this inning.
And then you got Starling Marte aboard.
Yeah, he could be at second in a pitch or two.
He's been on base now 3 separate occasions. Josh Harrison with a leadoff double came around to score in the 4th. Pirates scored twice in the first, 3 times in the second, 2 more in the 4th. Opener of this 3-game weekend series here in Denver. Harrison did not chase. Chad Fairchild.
Yeah, looked like he held it. Obviously, that's a different view than the first base umpire, but I like that, the overhead view. It looks like there's a camera right above home plate, but it would have to be
Drone?
A drone, yeah.
They'll do that eventually. Whenever they can figure out how it won't interfere. Marte's already stolen a base tonight.
No tag.
Desmond in his 12th career start at first. That was interesting when he signed with the Rockies. You know, he had been a shortstop with the Nationals all those years, went to Texas, and they've got Elvis Andrews, so they put him out in left. And then this year was going to play over at first base, got hurt. Mark Reynolds, who was signed to kind of be a backup again, has had a terrific season. Marte running. Marte with his second steal tonight.
Love to see that speed. I mean, that's something, you know, Pirates do have some guys who could steal the bases, but Marte, man, he flies. And last year probably would have ended up with 50 if he didn't get banged up towards the end, but he can steal on just about anybody.
Fourth steal this year, second tonight.
But yeah, you're talking about Mark Reynolds. What a year he's having. Incredible.
Not even in the lineup tonight. He's got 20 home runs. And so Desmond, with some injuries, has played mostly outfield when he's been healthy.
20 home runs, 66 RBIs, which is still third on the team. And he still strikes out a bunch, about a third of the time. But this year the average is high.
Changed his swing a little bit.
I think we started seeing that last couple of years.
With all guys or a lot?
No,
of
with Reynolds.
Yeah.
I mean, where was he last?
Milwaukee, here.
2 years ago. He was
St. Louis, Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember seeing more balls hit the right field the last couple times that the Pirates had faced him. He was always kind of a pool guy and just looked to hit homers.
Anderson works the count full. But with Desmond over at first, talking with him today about playing over there, he says, I'm still getting used to it, but a shortstop, coming up as a shortstop, going over to first base versus a guy who's, like in Josh Bell, who's played the outfield and going over to first base. Now Bell's had more time to work over there, of course, but I would imagine it would be easier for an infielder to make that transition, right?
Much easier, yeah. I mean, you're used to the speed of the game. You're used to fielding ground balls. You're used to fielding ground balls, being in a position to throw it as you catch the ground ball. I mean, yeah, it's 10 times easier for an infielder to move around than bringing an outfielder in.
There's a rare chase tonight.
But it doesn't make the position an easy position. It's easier to, you're still fielding ground balls like you've done your whole life, but it's just a different view. It's a different angle. You have to go in different directions. When you play second, short, or third, or the outfield, the ball's hit, you chase the ball. At first, the ball's hit half the time, more times than not, you're running away from the ball, which is odd. If it's hit in the outfield, you have a place to go. You have to be a cutoff man. If it's hit to your right, you have to run left. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you have to do at first base.
Marte in scoring position with 2 outs. Andrew McCutchen been on base all 3 times. Has come around to score all 3 times. Pirates lead by 4 here in the 5th.
mph with cut. That ball ran away from Andrew.
Lyles has hit a couple batters last inning and a dropped pop beside him, but he has quieted things a bit with the Bucks bats. And not now. Marte's going to score easily. Andrew McCutchen on base all 4 times tonight. His second run batted in, and the Pirates lead 8-3.
It's a beautiful thing. Just continues to get hits, drive in runs, hanging breaking ball. We're supposed to be down and away, left up middle. Andrew stays inside it. And he went out of the batter's box hard. I mean, he knew that Blackman had a ways to go. I think out of the batter's box, he was thinking, hey, I might be able to sneak into second. With this big ballpark and with the outfielders, in some cases, playing deep, I've seen base hits up the middle turn into doubles. In fact, I saw it twice in one game, even. With Larry Walker and I think it was Midre Cummings, old Pirate outfielder, hit a base hit up the middle, and he kept going and went to second on Larry Walker. And then later in the game, Larry Walker did it to Midre Cummings. Cue shot. Boy, that's a tough play.
Arenado makes it look so easy. 4-time Gold Glover. And that keeps the Pirates from adding on. They get another, though, 8-3. McCutchen with that 2-out RBI single. Bottom of the 5th coming up. And checking in on our Allegheny Health Network injury update. Good news with Rockies pitcher Chad Bettis, who has had a long road back since first being diagnosed with testicular cancer last fall, and he had to undergo chemotherapy during this offseason and then earlier this year, and began a rehab assignment last week and has made a couple of appearances now down in the minor leagues. And great to see him on his road back to the mound. That one to the mound, and Williams stays with it.
And look at the throw, the little off-balance throw. Remember a couple times where he didn't look real comfortable throwing it overhand, and that time after the bobble, he would come up, flip it over to Josh Bell, and we've seen this second time through the lineup a lot of easy outs on weak contact.
Well, that's what with Blackman coming up on deck. Lyles will bat. But that is what we've been seeing from Trevor Williams night after night. And sometimes, like in that first inning, balls will find holes, they'll get through. But we've rarely seen a whole bunch of innings like that against Williams, and he seems to just keep things pretty moderate.
And he's kept these Rocky fans quiet.
There's a huge crowd here tonight.
Yeah.
And it's been quiet. I just was thinking that last inning. I haven't heard of Pete really since that first inning. I mean, there's probably 50,000 people here. And you wouldn't know it. A guy who's never started here before, a rookie. That's out in beyond right field there.
Well, he's in danger of losing another pitcher here. Not that he walked a pitcher prior. I was just thinking how I know Trevor walked earlier, but and he has been in the zone again. That low strike not being called, and now back to a full count. I'm sure he'll be aggressive here and throw another one. Make Jordan Lyles earn his way on.
Comes back to strike him out once the throw is completed. And 2 up and 2 down. And that's 7 in a row sent down by Williams. MLB.TV every night, every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Trevor Williams rolling. Back to the top of the order. 3rd time now around. And this is not just for any pitcher, but these days any, or not just for Williams, but for any pitcher really. That 3rd time around, okay. Do you have enough variance, command, stamina?
I think as a hitter, anytime you face a guy for a 3rd time, there's no surprises. As far as stuff is concerned, you probably have seen everything the pitcher has to offer, so you're more comfortable in the box.
Jamming fastball on Blackmon.
That's something that Trevor Williams has done a lot since being in the rotation. He gets ahead in the count and he tries to finish them. And a lot of times hitters will look away or look soft when they get 2 strikes. Trevor Williams comes inside when he gets 2 strikes.
And he strikes out Blackmon looking. Trevor Williams, 8 in a row sent down, and he and the Pirates have an 8-3 lead. AT&T Sportsnet will be Wednesday, August 2nd, when the Pirates host the Reds, and tune in and help support those affected by cancer in our community. You can purchase backpacks filled with exclusive merchandise. They got the Pirates Charlie Brown bobblehead you see in the center there, the plates, autographed baseballs, and more. Go to pirates.com/charity night and find out more about that. 8-3 Buccos. We begin the 6th. And we happen to have one of the backpacks that the Pirates Charities has together, and let's see what's in this one. We have a what do you got, Rock? What is this?
Tyone.
Oh, autographed
with his signature.
Okay, yeah. Story stays with it. A nice pick there by Desmond. We got just found a baseball in here. Looks like Tony Watson. Tony Watson's signature. Okay. This is a sample of what you might be bidding on. Ah. You see Dick Groat?
Oh, one of the best of all time.
Yeah. So kind of some of the stuff that you get in the backpacks for Pirates Charities Night coming up August 2nd. Don't forget. Lots of exclusive items that you'll be able to pick up in these backpacks. Plus you get to keep a cool backpack. This one will go untouched. By a Rockies fielder. All right, gave it to the kid.
Another souvenir and another bat.
Jaso batting for the first time. He came in the game when Gregory Polanco left with an apparent injury. Getting word that it was left hamstring discomfort. So that's vague in the severity, but at least leaves the door open for it to being less severe, which is good. Jaso came in and ran for him after Polanco legged out the back end of what might have been a double play ball. And that left hamstring was a concern of his a couple of months ago. Tomczyk, head athletic trainer out there. No reason to try to push things. Oh, Otto at it again.
And look where he ends up. I mean, again, his anticipation, his jumps, his quickness. And for a guy that hits the way he hits, I mean, he's just as valuable on defense.
He's the best going offensively at third base in baseball. And I've heard some folks that have seen a lot more baseball than I have say that he might be one of the best that's ever put on the glove over there at third.
To finish the fifth, the play he made was not an easy play, and he made it look as routine as can be. And John Jaso, I'm going to tell you, some bad luck. I mean, this ball should be in left field. He's that far off the line and then able to range that far, a couple steps to his left in the dive. And I think of Jaso, was it yesterday that he hit the long fly ball? Looked like it was going to be a homer, caught top of the wall.
Well, that's what happens when you're 0 for, right? He's 0 for 21 now.
Yep, it's frustrating. And then, you know, jam shot from Cervelli finds a hole.
So a 2-out single for Cervelli. And let's go back to our studios. Paul Alexander checking in with a game break. Well, that is stunning. Thank you, Paul. And Pirates, of course, dealing them the last 4, but Philadelphia, one of the poorer teams. But Aaron Nola has pitched very well. He pitched well for the Phils tonight. And now, with the Cubs losing today, too, the Pirates have a chance to gain on both of the teams ahead of them. Pirates win tonight. They're 2 out of first, 2 games back.
Yep.
Oh, it says it's Mercer time.
Yeah.
I got to get me one of those. I like that. Jordy's the lone Pirate to not reach tonight. 0 for 3. Should exclude Jaso, who has come in the game as well.
There it is.
Down the line and deep. And there it goes. A home run for Mercer. It's Mercer time. 9th home run of the year. And the Buccos putting up a 10 spot on the Rocks.
He can hit a fastball. Lyles tried to come in on him. And Mercer saw a couple fastballs, one in off the plate, and so he looked for it again inside and watch him shorten up. Watch how short and quick. I mean, there's nothing to that. It's just getting the barrel from A to B as quickly as possible. And that thing went a long way.
StatCast says 444 feet.
Yeah, they knew it.
Making the drive up from Oklahoma. Let's go downstairs to Robbie. What do you got?
Well, you see the people wearing the It's Mercer Time shirts. That's his entire family. He and his wife, Casey, have both sides of their families. Jordy's wife and kids here, mom, dad, the whole gang. Shortest National League city from Tologa, Oklahoma, where he grew up. A 7-hour trip. Probably worth every minute now that they saw that, right?
Absolutely. And they get to see Jordy hit a home run, a 2-run shot. And the Pirates with a 7-run advantage here at Coors.
Big league level is evidenced by Jordy Mercer's 2-run last inning, but in the minor leagues, they promoted a couple of former high draft picks, one of them being Kevin Newman, who was promoted from AA to AAA. As we look at his season numbers in AA for Newman. Now, Pirates farm director Larry Broadway said with Newman, they feel that he is ready for the challenges at AAA. It's been a good learning experience for him to actually struggle in the month of May and then bounce back in June and July. The dry spells are good for guys to work through in the minors. They come out through the adversity a lot stronger. He batted 172 in May and then a combined 297 the next 2 months. The other guy promoted was Cole Tucker, first-round pick back in 2014 from High A Bradenton to AA Altoona, and that's what he's done this season. Broadway said he's taken strides in all areas of his game, and it's fun to watch him come into his own, both maturing physically on the field, but also as a young leader and influencer in the clubhouse. AA is going to be a good challenge for him, and he's excited to face them head-on. Newman was picked 19th overall 2 years ago in 2015, and Tucker 24th overall 3 years ago. And in his AAA debut last night, talking about Kevin Newman, guys, he racked up 3 hits and scored 2 runs. good prospects coming along in the minor leagues. And also shortstop Stephen Alame, promoted from low A to high A. He was the Pirates' 3rd-round pick last year. So 3 shortstops promoted 2 days ago, guys.
Well, thanks for that report, Robbie. And, you know, it is hard to find a reliable shortstop. And the Pirates have some moving up the system. They've got one here. And Mercer's home run is just added to the Pirates' advantage.
Mercer just so steady. He just goes about his business. He's so steady at the plate and defense. I tell you, going to Montreal, I'm sure you saw Cole Tucker, and I don't know if I'm guessing you didn't see him when he got drafted. I mean, just skinny as a rail out of high school, and boy, he's filled out. He's a big, strong-looking kid.
Yeah, the Pirates took him to that exhibition in Montreal, and Mercer records the first out. Yeah, that's a position that is hard to fill, and the Pirates have developed some good shortstops, Mercer among them. And that position too, you know, whenever there's a flashy play, we all get excited about it, but Mercer isn't flashy. He just takes care of business.
No, and even that last play he just made, that ball stayed down on him, and he did a good job of staying down. You usually anticipate the ball coming up, and yeah, he made it look easy.
Trevor Williams is making it look easy against the hottest offense lately.
Yes, he has.
He has sent down 9 straight batters now and has faced the minimum since the first inning. Rockies struck for 3, and really, much like the Pirates' first inning, didn't really scald the ball. They just were in the right places. So a 26 pitch first inning, 11, 12, 10, 12. I mean, these are quick innings against the Rockies at Coors in his first start here. Well, that's a guy that is tough to beat. They're going to get you once in a while, and Arenado with his 22nd home run. Arenado, one of the best going, all-star starting third baseman. And very seldom do we see Williams even give up a home run, let alone a long one, but he's a special player.
And it's a breaking ball. He goes down and gets it. I didn't think, oh, I guess it ended up on the inner third. I thought, I knew it looked like he had to reach down to get it, but I didn't realize, you know, it was in the inner half of the plate as opposed to the outer half. You get that slider outer half, harder to get it elevated and hit that far.
Arenado now with a couple of RBIs tonight, adding to his league-leading total.
It's solo home runs here. I mean, especially with the big lead, you're not going to worry too much about a solo home run. But solo home runs here, I mean, aren't going to kill you because you're going to score runs.
Williams got Arenado to ground into a double play last time, so. And that's what helps, right, with the Pirates offense. I mean, putting 10 runs up on the board through the first 6 innings, you can continue to not nibble and work the strike zone, as Williams has done so deftly tonight.
And the strike percentage could even be better with a little bigger zone. I mean, there's been a number, I'd say at least a half dozen pitches that appeared to be strikes that were called balls. But no complaints, just going about his business.
And just dispatching Parra, who coming into tonight was hitting .528 in his 9 games since coming off the disabled list. Let's check in on our T-Mobile Unlimited baseball break and news around baseball as Max Scherzer having some trouble in his start. And back-to-back home runs allowed him for the first time in his career. Yoan Moncada bases loaded triple for his first major league hit. The White Sox prospect Ryan Healy leading the game tonight after being hit fielding a ball. It came up and hit him in the face. And Williams unfazed by the home run by Arenado. And the Pirates lead by 6 through 6. Pirates leading 10-4 here at Coors. And Alexei Amarista has taken over in left field. I believe that would be a double switch. I have not confirmed that, but that would make sense. And Starling Marte grounds a single, his second tonight.
Bring him around. Let him score his 4th run of the night. Getting on base. Scott Oberg takes the hill for the 44th time. 0-1, a 5.54 ERA. 36 strikeouts, 37 in the third. Just 3 homers.
And Josh Harrison with a double tonight. The only Pirate to not reach base has been Jaso. He's only come up once, and he smashed the ball to third. Arenado made a Gold Glove play to rob him. Mercer has homered tonight. Josh Bell has driven in 4. McCutcheon's been on base 4 times and has driven in a pair. Pirates bidding for their 6th consecutive win. Some Point Park tweets showing how the offense really blossoming here in Denver tonight. And Clint Hurdle said it before the game, and it's an old mantra: good pitching beats good hitting. We talked about that as the broadcast starts, and the Pirates have gotten very good pitching tonight from Trevor Williams.
Yes, I mean, you'll see 4 runs and think, 4 runs in 6 innings, but you know, some soft contact. And first inning, the first 3 batters for the Rockies reached and scored, and then lights out for the most part for Trevor Williams till the Arenado homer. And it's been location, it's been late movement, and lots of strikes.
And being efficient. He hasn't thrown more than 12 pitches in an inning since that first.
Yeah. And he's waiting to go out for the 7th. 0 activity in the bullpen, so why would you not let him go back out?
Pirates drawing their 5th walk of the night.
5 walks, 3 hit batters. Nice to have these games. Not that, but again, here 6 runs, never feel too comfortable, but it's nice to have these games where, you know, where every pitch doesn't matter. It's like, since the All-Star break, every pitch matters. It's every game's been close and tight, and no wiggle room for either side.
Well, every one of those games in the Brewers series, 1 run, 2 runs, Pirates had to come back late. Most of those times to win. Even in the Cardinals series, those games were close. Jeff Livesey, assistant hitting coach. Jeff Branson, lead hitting coach, away from the team currently. Those 2 men work very, very hard with all the hitters. And they're seeing it pay off a little bit more here tonight.
Yeah. And again, I know I mentioned it. The Pirates have a lot of guys swinging the bat well. The Brewers pitching staff did a nice job against the Pirate hitters. The difference in that series where Pirate hitters came through with big hits at the big time.
And that will get through. Marte's going to come in and score. McCutcheon with 3 hits and 3 RBIs. They can't get him out. And the Pirates up 11-4.
And that's just how hot he is. Oberg got ahead easily. Came at him with fastballs at 98, 99 miles per hour and thinks, well, I'll finish him with a slider. I'll trick him. Well, look at Andrew go down and get it. I mean, that ball is not a horrible pitch. It's a very tough pitch to hit, especially after seeing 98, 99. And Andrew able to hit it hard enough to get it through, and Marte comes around for the 4th time.
Marte scoring for the 4th time. So McCutchen, Jason Steele tells us, he had 1 3-hit game in April and May. He's had 8 in June and July. You think about, I mean, to have 8 3-hit games in a month and a half, almost 2 months.
Yeah. Impressive.
Bell has driven in 4 tonight on his 3 hits. And Oberg scrambles to get 1 out. Probably had a double play there. But now 2 in scoring position. Hey, and just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one tonight, to look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
And you gotta love the production from the 3-4 holes, and typically where you want your best run producers are in that 3 and 4th slot. 3 RBIs for Andrew, 4 for Josh Bell, and quite frankly, the Pirates haven't had much production from those spots pretty much all year.
Yeah, they were looking for something, right? McCutchen starting the year in the 3 spot.
He
did
struggled.
not produce.
Yeah, moved to 6. Then they put Gregory in there, and he struggled.
He was either 3 or 4, and Freeze.
And then go back to the 3 hole. When McCutchen goes back to the 3 hole, Frazier, Harrison struggle. They're not getting on. McCutchen's not getting pitched to, so there wasn't many RBIs coming from the 3 hole then either. And yeah, in that 4th, 5th spot, there's been some struggles as well in terms of RBIs. I mean, you look 3, 4, 5, 6, you want RBIs.
And Freeze, the 2nd lowest slugging percentage of any regular cleanup man in his time that he was in the cleanup spot. You know, just trying to get some on-base guy in there, a guy who has shown power but has not been able to do that consistently this year so far since that hot start. But now, yeah, McCutchen and Bell definitely. Now the other guys can kind of go in more positions that they're better suited for, and they've been more productive.
Yeah, I mean, you look at you know, Mercer's done a good job down at the bottom of the line.
That's a tough spot in an NL lineup, that 8th spot.
With 40 RBIs, though, 9 homers, 40 RBIs for Jordy. But yeah, I mean, that's been the 3 hole, the 4 hole, and I know Polanco's hit some 4 as well as David Freeze, and they're still looking for their 30th RBI. I mean, they're still in the 20s, hitting in a productive spot. Osuna, for instance, 22 RBIs, but just 147 at bats. He's been in that spot, and he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, so I mean, guys who have been mostly bench players almost have those kind of numbers.
Right.
The Pirates offense coming into tonight among the 30 teams, 25th in runs scored. But like you said, Rock, we're starting to see now with Marte back, that's one of the keys too. Polanco hitting again. McCutchen's been hitting for 2 months. Now you're lengthening that lineup.
Sure.
You can't just hope for a lucky inning. Now you really got to pitch to a bunch of guys.
You really hope that the Polanco hamstring is a day-to-day thing and not a DL thing. Although, Adam Frazier, with the exception of that little slump he had going into the All-Star break, he's been productive as well.
Even Max Moroff this last week swinging the bat. Now you got a deeper bench. Freeze working the count full. And Moroff with a couple of pivotal hits. Go ahead, hit in the 8th inning. And the opener of that 4-game sweep against Milwaukee, and then the game winner in the 10th.
Yeah, that's fun to see. Anytime you come back like the Pirates have done, and to see the young guys, especially Max Moroff. I mean, that was awesome to watch. Seeing him hit his first homer was awesome to watch. It is a tough place to be when you're struggling, especially as a rookie not playing very often.
This will be the 150th pitch issued by Rockies pitching tonight. Pirates have been very patient. It's going to yield a run. Freese gets his second RBI tonight. Pirates have a dozen. Another long grinding at bat.
9 pitches.
Freese getting high fives. 29 RBIs now. Pirates with a strong output tonight.
Another hard hit ball. Poor Jason.
Hitless in his last 22 now, but yeah, the better swings are coming. Hey, let's stretch. Pirates having it tonight here in Denver.
By the Chevy Trax and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're gonna make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Here on a Friday night, the Pirates rocking the Rockies 12-4. And some excellent pitching from Trevor Williams, the rookie, unfazed by the mystique of Coors Field. Has allowed one over the minimum since the first inning. That was an Arenado home run.
And because of that, Cargo only getting his third at bat. That's a long drive for Mercer, PA. Now, from Mercer's hometown, what'd you say, 7 hours?
Yeah.
Mercer,
Local.
PA. Yeah.
More than 7.
Yeah, you figure how many? 6 Pirates. Well, 5 Pirates have 5 at bats. The 6th spot in the order, 5 at bats. Gonzalez just his third.
And a little weakly hit ball. We've seen a lot of that tonight from Trevor Williams. It has been a very fun night for those who have made the journey here. Look at our Point Park social media. Griff cheering on the Buccos from the top of Mount Belfort, more than 14,000 feet above sea level. Look at that. What a pretty vista. This is one of the most pretty areas of the country. Rocky Mountains. 25th season of Rockies baseball here. And a neat place if you want to come out and watch the Buccos on the road. Cool place to take in.
I'm wondering why I've never done that. Gone to the mountains here.
Let's do it.
I've never done. I mean, I think it would be cool to go climb a mountain, be 14,000 feet up in the summertime.
Let's get an off day here, and we'll do that. You want to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm absolutely in. That'd be fun. I've never climbed any mountains or hiking here. Never.
Camelback in Arizona, which is fun.
You can climb up to the Purple Row up here, which is exactly 1 mile above sea level, near the further reaches of this expansive ballpark. Little party area up there.
Whoa.
It's been a pirate party tonight.
We've talked about Trevor Williams likes to come in with that fastball with 2 strikes. This one a little too far in. Story maybe looking out over, reacted late.
90 pitches here with 1 out in the 7th.
Oh, foul.
That one hooking and foul.
Joe West was all over that one. And yep.
Foul by plenty.
Just a long strike.
There's Joe West.
Joe hustled out there to make sure he got a better view of it.
Williams at 94 on that one here in the 7th inning. Jan Mariñez, part of that really good Pirates bullpen this month. The lowest earned run average in baseball for the bullpen. Pirate starters haven't been half bad.
Boy, just Trevor Williams just sit here. I'm going to throw one right down the middle for you.
I'm trying to get through 7 tonight. Yeah.
Well, I guess Cervelli wanted it up, but Trevor Williams was like, eh.
Go ahead. I got an 8-run lead, right?
Exactly.
Don't mess around. Hitters are going to get themselves out more often. You think of how rare a home run is.
It's definitely tough to hit in the major leagues. And we talked about Arenado and how hot he's been. He had the big night, big day yesterday. Another foul. I'm looking at some of his numbers, and one thing popped out at me earlier before the game. Since June 1st, his batting average against the fastball, Nolan Arenado, 452. I couldn't hit 452 in batting practice. That's incredible.
Yeah, he is just 26, talking about Nolan Arenado.
And why I'm not using this info when he's up there, I'm not sure. I just forgot about it. But, well, figured we have some time here and just made me think of it. Arenado.
Still not as old as his uniform number.
No.
Starting third baseman in the All-Star game. This will be the 9th pitch coming to Story. One more chapter.
And not giving in is Williams. He's continues to pound the strike zone. And with the meeting with Cervelli, he just threw another one down the middle. And Story just wasted it again.
Peppering the zone. Number 10.
Oh, come on. Trevor Story was holding his breath. Oh, it lit it up.
Story has struck out 110 times, third most in the league. Williams does not show a lot of emotion out there. He is as much of a competitor as anybody that stands on that mound. And he wants to win this at bat so badly. That Story has fouled off 7 now, including a few right in the middle of the plate. At least he broke the bat.
Yeah.
12 pitches in. Williams started this at bat at 87 pitches for his count. The next one will be his 100th.
Has he thrown that many pitches in an inning since the first?
This is his career high now in pitches.
But I'm just saying, like, I mean, he was.
I mean, he's thrown as many in this at bat as he has in any inning since the first. Yeah. 12 pitch.
Yeah, look at that. 11,
coming up.
12, 10, 12, 12. And Trevor Story. No.
A guy who's most prone to strike out on this team has had the best at bat in terms of pitches seen. Lucky number 13. He'll go over the head for that one.
Well, another foul ball.
An epic plate appearance.
The ball was out of play. Story still. It's a hitter, you know, when you hit a ball down the line, whether it's the other way or hook it, whether it's going to be fair or foul almost immediately. Story still was around first. So he's taking his time getting back in.
Look how many pitches are really actually in the strike zone. Here's 14th. Finally put in play. And Williams wins the battle on the 14th pitch of the at bat. He gets out number 2.
Yeah, I mean, tip your cap. And you got to admire Trevor Williams just to continue to not give in and pound that zone with fastballs.
That's the moral. So in an uncharted territory here, pitch-wise, but Williams has allowed 1 hit since Walters' leadoff double in the 2nd inning. He gave up a home run to Arenado. From after the 1st inning tonight, he's given up 2 hits and 1 walk. And 2 of those runners were erased on double plays. I mean, this, and especially after the 1st inning, this is as well as you can pitch in this ballpark. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I agree.
First time here, a rookie. Bud Black, Rockies manager, longtime pitcher, has to tip his cap the way that Williams is offered tonight. One of the few hard hit balls tonight off Williams. Walters with 2 hits tonight. Yeah. Asking home plate umpire Alfonso Marquez, saying, I want timeout. He's out. So gave Williams a chance to finish the inning, but he goes 6 2/3 strong tonight, and all the Bucco fans that have made it here or live around here, they're going to stand up and applaud. And you should. Heck of an outing for Trevor Williams tonight. Line tonight, he pitched awfully well in his first start at Coors.
Yeah, I mean, the line at Coors, 4 runs, 6 2/3 isn't bad, especially when you give up 3 runs to the first 3 batters of the game. It's actually great. And, you know, he pounded the zone. He threw some good sliders, some good changeups, aggressive with the fastball, especially after the lead. Had some cut on some of his fastballs. Not a whole lot of strikeouts, but that's how you stay efficient.
Yeah.
Let him put it in play weekly.
A very few hard hit balls off Williams tonight, who retired 9 in a row at one point and was facing 1 over the minimum until Walters had that 2-out hit. And so 6 2/3. Williams in line for a win tonight. Pirates up 8 runs here in the 7th. And Walters will move up.
His 36th appearance, a 4.06 ERA, 35 strikeouts, 44 1/3.
Pass ball moves Walters to second. And Palenka pinch hitting off the wall. Walters easily in on that pinch hit RBI double. It's 12-5.
Sometimes you get the ball in the air, it just doesn't come down. It just continues to carry. Thought maybe with the good speed of Marte, if it stayed in the park, he'd be able to get to it. But yeah, you see there, it didn't miss going out of the ballpark by much.
And that run will be assessed to Williams.
Which is unfortunate.
Look at our Allegheny Health Network Supermo. A lot of ground to cover out in expansive Coors Field. So Valleca, part of the trio of brothers playing professional baseball, the Valleca brothers. The youngest, Nick, just drafted and signed by the Pirates. Want to hear a fun stat about
Sure.
Charlie Blackmon? Since I'm going to read a Charlie Blackmon stat while he's at the plate. And this is bound to change, so I'm going to wear it if it gets a hit here. But 1 for 15 against the Pirates this year, and he's grounded into 2 double plays. They've both come against the Pirates. Wow. So the guy who's leading all of baseball in hits coming in, Williams and company, have limited him so far. One of those weird things.
What's weird is you didn't wait till Gonzalez was up to announce that stat.
I had confidence in Jan Marinas, who gets the out and ends the inning. Aha. 12-5 Buccos. And the Pirates still bringing it on tonight. 12-5 on a Friday Night Rocks. 15 hits for the Buccos. Really good start for Trevor Williams tonight. And now the Rockies trying to find some way to keep the Pirates at bay. There's only been one inning they haven't scored all night.
Well, hopefully the Pirates can continue against Mike Dunn. Score some more. 41st appearance. ERA just under 5.
The only inning the Pirates haven't scored tonight is when Cervelli led off the 3rd inning with a triple.
Yeah, how about that? Probably the best scoring opportunity.
Dunn is the Rockies' 4th pitcher, and Cervelli batting for the 5th time. Some Pirates tonight are going to get 6 plate appearances. Their best output since the finale of the first half, when they put up 14 runs against the Cubs, who lost today. The Brewers lost today as well. Josh Bell has driven in 4. He's got 3 hits. Pirates poised to pull within 2 games of first. That would be as close as they've been since May 6th.
Well, definitely feeling good, this Pirate squad, and I'm sure very disappointed with the first half. But
seems like that's behind them now, huh? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you knew they'd have a stretch in them where they'd get hot.
And they have stayed hot tonight. The Pirates with a win would go over 500. The time that they were over 500 this season was when they were 3-2.
Yeah, how about that?
Much rather peak in the second half than in the first.
And luckily, in a division to where 500 is right in the thick of things. The other Central Division, kind of in the same boat.
In the American League.
Yeah.
Chad Kuhl's going to go tomorrow. I was talking with him about gearing up for Coors. He's excited. He went out and took pictures today. He does it at all the new ballparks. He hasn't been here before. San Diego's the last one in the league on his list. That's later on this trip. So pulled out on strikes. Chad Kuhl going in the Saturday night game as we look at our Nissan road ahead. He will face German Marquez. And that is tomorrow's action. We begin our coverage at 7:30 right here on AT&T Sportsnet. And then Ivan Nova against the rookie Kyle Freeland. That's a 2:30 airtime for the finale here at Coors. Jordy Mercer with a soaring 2-run home run back in the 6th. Statcast said that one went 444 feet to left. Reminded me of the home run he hit in Arizona last year.
Yeah. And if Jordy ever wanted to go up and try to hit 25 or so homers, he probably could. Have to make some adjustments, and I think with the swing, but his swing is more a line drive, compact swing, using the whole field. But he has power. I mean, obviously, 440 feet, straightaway left. I mean, that's a long way to straightaway left.
Right back to Dunn. First time tonight, the first two men have been retired in any inning for the Pirates. I take that back. That happened in the sixth inning, and they still scored two. Well, maybe something left here. You don't get to see Jan Marinez bat very often. With the lead 7. Wow. Cracked out toward the gap. That's going to be extra bases for Marinez.
I want to say the first at bat he had this year for the Pirates, he hit a rocket, but right at somebody.
That's the first career major league hit for Jan Marinez.
Well, you can tell he is an athlete and can handle the bat. Wasting no time. First pitch fastball, and talk about a short, quick little swing.
Doesn't even own a pair of batting gloves. It's been that kind of night. It's been that kind of run for the Buccos. So for Marinez in his first major league hit, it's for extra bases. In his 8th career plate appearance. He made his debut 7 years ago. The 28-year-olds finally got that souvenir. Scott Bonnet takes care of that. So everybody that has appeared in this game has reached, except for poor John Jaso, who stung the ball twice.
Yeah. 2 bullets.
And Williams, I forgot, got credit with a hit. So what? Everybody's got a hit tonight, right? Yeah, everybody with a hit tonight except for Jaso. Everybody. Williams, Marinez.
I'm going to try to get him up there again.
Broke his bat. And that is the final out. How about Jan Marinez? Why not? With a double tonight. He'll go back out and pitch with a 7-run lead.
Sportsnet is brought to you by Barrel. Check out the Barrel Hot list at barrel.com. Now the only way to buy a car. And by Levin's, the official furniture and mattress supplier to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the best quality, service, and value, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
It has been a Friday night rocking here in Denver. All the Bucco fans hanging around, having a good time tonight. 12-5. And the Pirates poised to move within 2 games of first place. Would you believe that?
10 days ago, would you believe it?
That's why you play the games. That's why you watch and follow along. You don't know what path they're going to go. But like you said, you figured this team was too good to not have at least one good stretch of baseball in them. And this one good stretch of baseball that they're on right now is good enough to put them right there in the mix.
I think every team has a stretch where they pitch good, hit good. I think every team has a stretch where, you know, they hit good and pitch bad, or pitch good and hit bad.
Pirates certainly had a lot of that. You know, just the one thing, you know, early in the year, the defense negated some good pitching. The hitting had been sporadic. And then when the hitting started to come around a little bit, the bullpen all of a sudden, which had been reliable, was not. And now it might be their biggest strength.
Yeah, but any team in the big leagues that can get hot can beat you. I mean, I keep thinking back, you know, this road trip, and you know, you'd like to win this series here in Colorado. Obviously, it looks like a pretty good start. Another easy out. And you go to San Francisco and you look at their record at 37-60.
Can't ever look at their record after what they did.
But
you know,
well, when they came into Pittsburgh, their offense was hot.
Yeah,
they were all swinging the bat well.
They had won 3 in a row coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think they had a 6-game winning streak, and so they had a stretch where, you know, everything was going their way, and the offense all got hot at the same time. So, still going to go out and play the games.
Looking at the lowdown, some of those scores. Dodgers getting shut out by Atlanta 9-0. Both the Brewers and Cubs have lost today.
So the Dodgers might have a losing streak.
Yeah, they haven't lost consecutive games since mid-June. Or maybe even sooner than that. The 30-4 stretch that they were on. So, you know, the other day I say, okay, let's look and see where the Pirates stack up in the last 6 weeks or so. You know, they've been playing better ball. And the Pirates have the second best record in the National League, but they were still about 8 or 9 games behind where the Dodgers were.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you, I mean, LA, I mean, that now, if you go on a stretch like that, that's usually good enough to take your division. And the Rockies and Diamondbacks, who are in that wild card spot, prior to that stretch, they were very much in the thick for the division. Now it looks like the Dodgers, all they got to do is hold on here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty healthy lead.
Arenado, soft ground ball for the second out. Dodgers lead entering play today, 10.5 over both the Rockies and Diamondbacks.
Entering the 100-game mark.
97 for the Buccos tonight. She was checking her app to see what the standings are going to look like. Alexei Amarista batting for the first time. Hoping for good news on Gregory Polanco tonight. That's the one bummer about all the fun that's been had tonight. He left the game with left hamstring discomfort, and no word on its severity, but when you hear discomfort, that makes you feel like it's got a shot of being less severe.
I wonder why the Rockies took Parr out.
It was not a double switch, which I thought maybe
that
was going to be the reasoning to have Obert pitch a little while, but we've not gotten word on that yet. It was right after Parra had struck out, and maybe something with that. Jaso in the game for Polanco tonight, and Amarista in for Parra, and Mariñez in for Williams, who went 6 2/3 tonight. You look at that box score tomorrow and you go 5 runs and 6 2/3. Well, he really struggled. It was not a dominant outing, but it was a close. After that first inning, it was close to dominant. There was not a lot of hard hit
for this ballpark and how it plays. Yes, it was outstanding. And hopefully, because of Trevor Williams, he'll put this Rockies team in a slump.
Yeah, the Rockies coming in winning 4 in a row. I mean, they'd scored 49 runs over those 4 games. So 5 right now feels great. Only 5. And when this game started out too, you brought up the fact that you thought that Brewers pitching really limited the Pirates offense over that series.
Yeah.
And that the Pirates were really having some good at bats and really swinging it well. And then tonight, look at it, it's translating here. So I just want to point out your astute observation prior to all these big runs.
And it's obviously important to score runs. The other thing I mentioned earlier, that this is a 48th game here at Coors Field this year. Only 7 of the 48 games was 4 runs enough to win. You need more than 4 runs to win here. And I think 4 of those games have been since the opening homestand. They had 3 games in the opening homestand where 4 or less would resulted in a win. Only 4 since then. So your offense has to produce here.
And Marinas sends down the Rockies in order. 9th inning coming up. 12-5 Buccos. And the Pirates enjoying a 12-5 lead. And 12 runs scored. That means already $12 off tickets to the upcoming homestand on August 1st through the 8th. And go to pirates.com/how-many-runs to find out more. Remember, it's not just tonight, it's the whole series. So the Pirates are already taking $12 off your tickets. So make sure to get those online a half an hour after the final game ends or at the ticket offices on Monday morning. So an opportunity to save quite a bit thanks to those big buck bats tonight.
Yeah, and can add on here in the 9th perhaps, and hope maybe double digits the next couple of nights or a couple of games. Never know in here, this ballpark.
Harrison tonight will face Jairo Diaz.
Diaz, just a couple of games, 3 innings.
Big bouncer. And 1 out here in the 9th.
Diaz gets a new ball from the home plate umpire. Even ground balls, I mean, it's like, throw it out. Every time the ball is hit, it's like, throw it out.
A lot of action for McCutchen tonight. Walk, scored a run. Walk, scored a run. Single RBI, scored a run. Single RBI, single RBI.
Yeah, that's a good night.
It's kind of stretch he's been on.
Due for an extra base hit.
Hasn't had one since the All-Star break. Has had 8 singles. Every Pirate tonight with a hit, except for Jaso, who would be due up 5th this inning. But he hit the ball really hard his first time up. Arenado made a Gold Glove play to stop him. Even Jan Marinez doubled tonight.
Yeah, that's 2 more hits for Pirate pitchers.
Two and 2 on McCutcheon. Three more outs to pull within 2 games of first.
I wonder if Andrew's ever been on 6 times in a game.
McCutcheon almost able to beat that out. First time he's been retired tonight.
I almost thought Arenado was going to play that into an error the way he charged it. He kind of got himself into trouble with that backhand play.
Josh Bell tied a career high with 4 RBIs. He had that many after 2 innings. 3 hits and 5 trips. Arenado was he was one of Arenado's victims, I should say, in the 5th. Arenado has probably saved at least 1 run tonight, maybe 2, with his glove. Four-time Gold Glover at age 26, probably on his way to another one.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised.
And it's not because he hits. You know, some guys. And there's the 4th hit of the night for Josh Bell. A career best in that department, and he's just going to keep on going. Josh Bell with a triple on a 4-hit night.
And that was a rocket. And again, we talked about the big outfield here, the quick grass. It's a fastball, center cut, 96. But how hard it was hit. I mean, this is a line drive up the middle. How often do you see a line drive up the middle go to the wall? I mean, it just takes off. And with a big lead like this, you don't want to be running up the score, but that triple was so easy. Nobody's going to have any issues with that.
So for Bell, his first career 4-hit game, and tying a career high with 4 runs batted in. So he joins Jordy Mercer, tied for the team lead in triples. And Freese has been hit twice tonight. 4 Pirates have been hit by pitch.
That just looked like a split that got away. We wanted to see Jaso hit anyhow.
Yeah.
So. Back of that left arm. He has a pad on there, but looked like it may have got him above the pad.
That's the most 4-hit batters. Jaso, hard hit liner. Arenado did his best Brooks Robinson impression back in the 6th. And a hard ground ball right at Story in the 7th. That's one shy of the team record. And none of them have been Josh Harrison tonight.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. He's had his share. Hit 20 times this year. Well, he may not have a hit, but he's got a walk. And the base is loaded again here in the ninth. So all 11 batters tonight have reached base. And both pitchers have hits.
Yeah, that's unusual. That's why I was hoping Jason would get a hit.
Yeah.
How many times have 11 players come to bat, including the pitchers, all with hits?
Shot foul. And you got to go way back. Final game before the All-Star break, July 9th. Cervelli with that first inning grand slam. Remember, he batted in the number 2 spot in the order. He was coming around batting for the second time when he hit that grand slam. First Pirate ever. And you think of all the years of Bucko baseball. First Pirate in the first 3 spots in the order. Hit a grand slam in the first inning. Part of that 10-run first. Cubs gave up 9 without an out against the Cardinals in the 8th inning today. They have lost.
Crazy.
And Milwaukee lost today to the Phillies. Pirates could be 2 games out. There's your scoreboard. The old-fashioned scoreboard here in newfangled Coors Field. Mix of old and new. Nice ballpark here, by the way.
Very nice.
Base is loaded. Pirates with 17 hits tonight.
And Cervelli, he doesn't give away at bats. He's going to go up there and he wants to hit here as much as he did in his first at bat.
And that gets through. Bell is coming home. Here comes Freeze, and he is going to be out.
That's, you don't typically send a guy there if there's going to be a play, but 13 isn't bad.
It's lucky for the Pirates tonight. here in Denver will take on the Rockies in Game 2 of this series, and Chad Kuhl will face German Marquez. We'll be on the air with you tomorrow at 7:30 with our Pirates pregame, brought to you by W.B. Mason. (13-5) Buccos. A little bit of rain tonight has not dampened the Pirates' fun whatsoever.
No. I think kind of lucky the weather for the most part has stayed mild. Might be as much rain as we've seen. Wind's blowing a bit.
After David Freese colliding at home plate there, Max Moroff in the game at third. Hopefully just to get an inning of work.
Yeah. I know this. Sliding in the shin guards isn't fun.
You did that a couple of times?
If you get shin in the shin guard, shin loses.
And that is going to stay fair. And a base hit for Desmond. The rain picking up a bit for the first time tonight. A little squall coming here in the bottom of the ninth.
Swinging bunt. Moroff tried to make a spectacular play, but kind of a do or die bare hand. That would have been a tough throw, and I don't know if he had enough time, even if he did pick it clean.
Yeah. Eat the pizza. I got a rain poncho. Ish. Desmond taking second base. Now that's a rain poncho.
Stillers.
Pirates are poised to win their 6th in a row. Can't rain on their parade right now. About to be winners for the 12th time in 14 games. Their best stretch of ball in more than 2 years. There's the first out.
The pitch it was nowhere close, really. Gonzalez continues to struggle.
Trevor Story worked Williams for a 14 pitch at bat before grounding out his last time. Nice job by Jan Marinez tonight. You think, Williams going 6 2/3, and then Marinez poised now to, wrap it up, and then that way only one guy out of the bullpen used tonight.
And that's huge because of the type of games the Pirates have been playing. I mean, the back end of the bullpen has been used every night, every game,
and sometimes as early as the 6th inning.
That's the one thing that's bad about winning close games, is that you have to use the bullpen. You have to get in there. And these guys, especially this time of year, I mean, there's going to be soreness. I mean, they welcome a day off. And so when you can put up a bunch of runs, they can just sit back and relax.
Out to McCutchen. There's out number 2. And the Pirates are an out away from winning their 6th in a row. The Brewers and Cubs have lost tonight. We're standings watching again. The Pirates would be 2 games out of first. Tony Walters 2 out of 3 tonight. And the fans, they want to see that final out. Pirates have played well here. They're going to win 9 out of 10 here in Colorado over the years.
Yeah, 9 of the last 10. I forgot about that, reading that earlier. I mean, had the Rockies number here at Coors.
Bell with 4 hits and 4 RBIs tonight. You think about it too. Technically tonight is a come from behind win too. The Pirates were trailing early 3-2 after an inning. All 6 wins in this winning streak. They have trailed. And Mariñez wraps it up. Folks, the Pirates are 2 games out of first. Josh Bell and the Buccos beaten up on the red-hot Rockies here at their place tonight.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at those standings. Oh, I want to see them. Put them up there. Look at that.
Pretty remarkable. I mean, it's a race. There's a 4-horse race. Nobody's out of it except the Reds. Can't even say that, but Reds went down tonight again. But the way this team is playing just continued to impress, and you know, much more favorable form tonight with the big offensive explosion. But you kind of felt it coming. Again, Milwaukee pitched well. Pirates still won 4, but they keep rolling. Train keeps rolling. 6 straight.
And they are dancing in the rain here tonight. And the Pirates winners tonight, beating up on the Rockies 2 games out of first. So let's go out now to Paul and Teague.